All right, I'll mute mine. I'm good.
What is going on, everybody? Find out which screen I'm supposed to be on. How's it going? Oh, man. My quality with the garbage.
Usually does when you first start, but...
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Wow, the chat is full.
Yeah, 22 people. Not bad. Greetings, Earthlings.
All right, looks like we got Ken Keller in here, Naked Designs. Oh, Ryan from Geek Deck is here. Oh, Martin from 3DP Iceland's here as well. Uncle Ron is in here. Looks like you guys were talking before we got here. Chris Lane from Venturi 3D is here. If I miss anybody, I apologize. I'm trying to do this very quickly. Kat is in here. Jeff Slater is in here. Minnesota Maker is here. John Pickens is here. He's lurking. John Mack is in here. I don't know if I said that already. PT3D is here. Fernando Pina is here. I think that's it. So Ryan, go ahead, take over, brother.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome to the stream. Like always, this is always a fun time. Today's topic is essentially going to be based on what motivates us, whether it be to print things, what we want to print, why we printed, what we printed, or stuff to that nature. What is going on? Let's see. So we'll go ahead and roll right into the introductions. We'll start with Glenn, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. Did you turn your mic on?
Yes.
Okay. So, hey, everybody. I'm Glenn.
I'm Xander.
And together we are Fun King 3D. And we are a father and son team. I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat knows who we are. But we're a father and son team that does, well, we do 3D printing and electronic projects. And lately it's been more 3D printing than anything else. But, and of course, my big claim to fame now is the building of the FK1 printer with a 400 by 1200 by 475 millimeter build capacity. And Xander's big claim to fame is?
I don't know anymore.
Well, you know, it's Xander's thing Thursday.
It's a lot of things, but
Xander is now the director of marketing for Fun King 3D because he's the guy that's been just going out and shaking babies and kissing hands. So he's making contacts at our local library, who does now have a 3D printer, which is awesome. And he's been over there making contacts. So we're found at Fun King 3D pretty much everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gab AI. I don't know where else. So I guess that's it for us.
All right, Joe, Mike, if you want to go on ahead.
Hello?
Hey, Joe, what's going on, bud?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. I'm going to see if I can get the snowball in a little bit to... There we go. Hi. Are we live already?
Yeah, we are live. We started 7 minutes ago. You're late.
Darn it. Sorry, I had to let out my buddy Anthony's dogs. He's out of town, so I'm doing the dogs for him.
I'm sorry, Joe. Who let the dogs out?
Woof.
Come on, I had to do that. I had to.
Well, I guess we can go ahead and clear the record. It was me. So, yeah. Long time ago, I let the dogs out, and then here we are. Are we doing introductions? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, we're doing introductions. I looked at it, saw you in line after fun king, so I figured I'd go ahead and let you go. If you want time to, collect yourself, I can give you time.
Yeah, go ahead and give me some time to collect myself. I still need to get up the stream and all that stuff. So
All right.
circle back.
All right, not a problem. Marteinn, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'm Marteinn, and I have a channel called 3DP Iceland, and can be found on Twitter as 3DP Iceland, and YouTube as 3DP Iceland. I'm doing mostly 3D printed landscapes, like this one. I'm printing them out and painting them, and then I do filament reviews and make a box unboxing videos and test out everything I can get my hands on, and do upgrade videos on my printers and projects like that, and some design videos in Fusion 360 also. So that's me in a nutshell. So next.
All right, John from You Do It, you ready?
Yeah, so I'm John from You Do It. I make a lot of things. I do a lot of things. I try to do it in such a way that you can do it, which is why it's called You Do It. You can find me on Twitter, you_do_it, on Instagram, you.do.it. And you see my YouTube channel here in the chat. Lately, I haven't been making much. I've been working on a lot of videos, content-wise. There's still a backlog of videos I'm producing for Earth. I captured the content of the speeches on the first day and second day, and I just published the 7th speech from Brooke. So that's up there. Chris just has to work his magic and publish that. I also published a couple of interviews. I had one from Eric of Enable, and Josh Ajima was my latest one that I just published today. So it's in that video you see the group photo. Someplace in there, I won't tell you where because I need to watch time, so find it. And anyway, I'll be in and out. I'm trying to get my makerspace here cleaned up. So thanks everyone for joining tonight.
All righty, thank you, John. Appreciate it. Joe, you about ready?
I'm situated. I got the stream up, the mic's working, and I got my camera relocated. So, hi. I'm Joe Mike. PDA. I'm Joe Mike, and my name is my channel. So Joe Mike Terranella. I also go by JMT in the circles. My channel is dedicated to 3D printing. It's also dedicated to just other random stuff that has to do with 3D printing. I'm about to post a video about using 3D printing to upgrade my shop lights in the studio down here, and well, the studio lights. So that'll be a fun one. Do the MakerBox stuff. I'm on Twitter, Mojike, Instagram, JTerranella, and yeah, that's it, really. I'll probably be like heading over here at times because I'm working on the Mark III, trying to finish up my Donager model from the Expanse. So, yeah. And there's a Chris's Basement logo.
That is the Chris's Basement logo.
Yeah. I got that off of Twitter.
Yeah, Chris actually lives here in Kansas City, yet I've never met him face to face, I don't think.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you should meet up.
Yeah, you think that'd be something that we would do? Wait, Chris, we're failing.
Coffee at least once.
Yeah, we are failing. I'm sorry, Chris.
Alrighty, guys. So I'm Geek Tech. This is my channel. Down in the description, you will find links to all of the panel, plus anybody that's been on the panel in the past, because I tend to overdo things. By all means, please take some time and check some channels to see if you have subscribed or need to subscribe still to anybody that's on the panel. Again, I'm not saying that you have to. I would just appreciate it. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm Geek Tech. I can be found everywhere by the same exact name. Not not for any specific reason. It's just because I'm lazy. My channel is specifically towards all things geeky. I am a geek. I do maker stuff. I do 3D printing. I currently have 2 printers in my little office here, which there is not much room left for me. I've got a Hypercube and a i3 clone. I'm getting a Prusa in August and a CR10 in December. But my channel focuses a lot around making and breaking things. Currently working on a project for Earth last year, a memory project, kind of like to remember all the fun we had. I'm building a table that's going to have all the maker coins in it that I collected. Anybody that's been following the streams that I've been doing is seeing and helped me with the design. There are still parts to give out to the community. Even though I haven't sent any out, I do have pieces reserved, and I'm going to be sending them out tonight or tomorrow for everybody to start printing out for the table. So if you want to get involved, please let me know. But I'll be putting up a lot of videos in relations to making things here shortly. One of which is I need to make clamps in order for this project, so I'm going to have a video go up on that. But yeah, welcome. Again, today's topic is essentially kind of what motivates us to print, and why we want to do, why we get to the point of printing things, whether it be to test filaments or, as Marteinn does, landscapes. Xander does it because he's cool. But everybody has a different reason. Me, my whole goal behind 3D printing is I have yet to find another way to replace half the crap I've broken than with my 3D printer of reprinting out the pieces that I need. Like, I'm getting ready to have to reprint all the pieces to my headphones because they're like 3 years older than God and they're falling apart on me. But yeah, we'll go ahead and let you guys have the floor from there.
I find that the main reason that I design, well, the main reason Xander designs is because I'm like, go design something, do it. But the main reason that I end up designing anything is, well, because of necessity. Like, I'm not a organic modeler, so like I don't have the talents to sit down and be like, oh, I'm gonna make this cute little whatever, you know, I'm gonna make this cute little alien guy. I suck at that. So everything I make is utility. And honestly, my design mode doesn't kick in until I've fully scoured like Thingiverse to make sure somebody else already didn't make one.
Fair enough. I mean, even if you're just printing stuff off Thingiverse, you still have a reason to print it. Which is cool. I've printed lots of stuff from Thingiverse. There's loads of interesting things on there to print and whatnot.
Yeah, one of the things I did early on when I got my 3D printer was to draw out and design some items to fix my refrigerator. My wife wasn't believing that a 3D printer was any practical use, so I had to prove her that I could fix things around the house. So I do several items around the house as a practical mechanical parts, and I love to draw them out in Fusion 360. And like most of the things I make are some mechanical parts that I rather spend the time in Fusion 360 to learn how to use it rather than finding it on Thingiverse with some trinkets and sculptures and such. I think I find on Thingiverse, but I really like to use the reason to have a part to learn Fusion 360 more. So I try to model as much as I possibly can by myself.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I prefer not to download from Thingiverse, and I prefer to model it. There's some things that I was in a time crunch, and it just made sense. or it was something that I knew I just wanted the joy of printing it immediately instead of waiting for me to figure out how to do it. And that was a couple of vases, like a honeycomb vase and the spiral vase I printed. And then Uncle Ron sent me links to a couple of pyramid towers for painting. I printed them. So yeah, I try to design everything I can. Originally, I was doing it in SolidWorks, and then I switched over to Fusion 360 once I learned it was free. So for those of you joining the stream, Fusion 360 is free. You just have to meet the criteria, and one of that is that if you're using it for business, you can't make less than $100,000 in profit. And I've made a lot of practical things. I find a lot of joy in that. One was a door bumper, keep me from getting a hole in the wall from the doorknob. And another was a couple of switch plates. It was an odd combination of switch plates like Decora and the old style switch plate, which is much smaller for the small switch to pop through. I did that in the live stream, and I actually learned a lot in Fusion 360 as a result of it, and a lot of the input from the community helping. So that's the other reason why I like doing it, is because it involves the community.
Yeah, it's good to see how other people are doing projects. A lot of the parts I design are related to my 3D printers or my cabinet or my studio setup here. So it winds up, so to speak. You're setting everything up, and you need some part to set up your studio, and then you just design it and 3D print it. And most of my things are like not be practical for other users in general. It's just a certain fixture for like I did a power strip fixture to fix my power strip to the table, and I designed it just to fit that power strip I had, and I have several other power strips that are totally different. So that item doesn't make much sense to try to get on Thingiverse and adjust it to a specific power strip. So it's just easier to design it yourself.
That's fair. I've designed a lot of random stuff to fix random stuff around the house, and actually I did see that that live stream you did, or the video you did on the door stop, John. That was actually really neat.
Thanks for that. Yeah, that I didn't know how it was going to come out. You know, each one of the things I designed, I'm like, okay, you know, it might work, it might not work, but it worked. I just needed a little CA glue to hold the TPU into the PLA, and it's still up and working.
Yeah, that's the fun part about prototyping is it is trial and error with a lot of that stuff, but I mean, that's my favorite part. It really is, to literally building a theory and then testing it out.
Yeah, definitely. It's a process that you hardly get it in the first time. If it's a complex object, you have to try different types of shapes.
Huh? 3D. So we're talking about why we're in the 3D printing kind of thing, right?
Well, not so much of why we're into 3D printing, but more along the lines of what motivates you to design things that need to be printed.
Okay. So like the workshop that I'm in right now, which is my basement / makerspace and studio, the lights that I used to use were the giant soft box lights, huge, and they were on little tripod stands, and they cluttered up my entire space down here. And so I decided to use a combination of random parts and 3D printing to actually Come back to me. I'll be right back. I got to get to the Prusa. Be right back.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy the design part of 3D printing, and the fact that even with stuff that I make, whether it be out of aluminum, steel, wood, whatever, I can design it in Fusion 360, which I use, and it is free. I got the nonprofit license when I set mine up, so I mean, I'm not using it to make money, but I'll design something and then I'll lower the scale down and print it out so that I can actually see how it looks and how it stands and how it functions. So I've got a smaller model before I do some of the big stuff that I do. And it really helps you get a grasp of kind of whether your design is actually going to work. If you can, if I print it out on a small scale and before I do something bigger, it really helps me out.
On the I don't know where I'd be with creating that coffee table if it weren't for the 3D printing. There were a lot of mistakes I was able to make in the MDF cutting and finishing that I created edge banding for on a live stream in Fusion 360, 3D printed it, and glued it on to the edges of the MDF and made that coffee table look somewhat futuristic because it had these artifacts on it that you just don't see in traditional cabinetry or furniture. So it let me speed through finishing it, and I could just glue those pieces on, lightly sand to get any dust off, and then paint it with some Rust-Oleum flat black. And they're using it in film production right now.
Well, there you go. That's pretty interesting. Craig 3D asked, what is the hardest or most frustrating design that you've ever worked on? That's kind of to the whole group.
Yeah, most difficult for me is if I have to match organic shape that I can't measure out with calibers. So that's probably the most different in design aspects of getting it to fit correctly.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Martin there. It's stuff. I use Rhino 3D, and I know a lot of people aren't super familiar with Rhino, but Rhino is actually a NURBS modeling program, which, I mean, you can do car bodies in it and all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, it's really a very powerful program, but sometimes it's very weird the way it works. So like doing fan ducts or as the Chinese call it, the wind mouth, stuff that has a organic type flow to it, I have a very hard time with. I have a hard time wrapping my head around all of that. Utility type parts. I mean, if it's something I can measure up, like Martin said, you know, if I can measure it with a caliber, or if it's something that I can draw 2D and then extrude, even if I then have to shape it a little bit more, that stuff's a lot easier for me than the organic stuff.
Yeah, I tried out Sculptress the other day. That's like a baby brother of Zebras, and I'm no good at it. It's a totally different beast to do like organic modeling. It's fun to play with, but it's very difficult to get the correct shapes.
Yeah, if you look at some of my beginning videos, I think not my first videos on the channel, but my first videos dealing with designing something for 3D printing, I had a hell of a time, and I think that was the most frustrating, just trying to get over the learning curve of how to use Fusion 360. I'm not new to 3D modeling or design. I used to use AutoCAD for 3D and Maya 3D, and It's a 3D Studio Max I used to use. It was just a different interface, getting used to it and figuring it out. And the very simple things I was trying to do, just I couldn't wrap my head around if I was in sketch mode or in 3D drawing mode. I didn't understand that you could project onto a surface and draw. The constraints were really wreaking havoc in a lot of what I was trying to accomplish. And I didn't understand the timeline. So those of you who know Fusion 360 will appreciate what I'm saying. For those of you who don't know, Fusion 360 is easy, so don't let me scare you. It's just that it takes a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah, that definitely. It's totally different method of creating objects. I used 3D Studio Max back in the day, like 20 years ago. I was quite familiar with modeling in 3D space, so that came easy to me, but based everything on sketches and planes and such things in Fusion, it's a different way of thinking. So it takes a while to get your head around it.
Yeah, I'm a fairly big fan of Fusion 360. But like John said, don't think that it's an extremely hard program. There isn't really a massive learning curve, and the great thing about the program is that so many people are using it that there are massive amounts of information and video tutorials on Fusion 360. And if you ever want to know how to do something or just design something inside of it, reach out to your YouTube designer buddies, and I'm sure somebody will make a video for you or something to help you out.
Yeah, like Angus Maker's Muse 101 CAD for Newbies series. It goes through all the basic steps on how to get started. So it's very easy to follow, and many others have made tutorials and project videos with Fusion, and it's easy to learn.
Yeah, that was a very helpful series. I mean, I've got a lot of experience with AutoCAD and Fusion 360 and Blender for doing organic modeling and stuff like that. But even I watched all of his tutorials on it, and it even helped me out with some of the stuff that I didn't even realize was there. And I still have problems with it, but that's because I just forget things or misplace thoughts on exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm always trying to get into using as few like sketches. Then I need to not always create a new sketch for every object. So it's a process to get the workflow in a good shape that you can easily edit out your designs. It's very easy to build on and build on and build on, and then you have to go back and change something. Everything will be screwed up. So if you have the initial sketch with the shape, it's easier to make changes.
Wellbot mentioned that he agreed that Fusion 360 is easy, but it gets more difficult as you get more complex in working with it. And I don't think I'm there yet. I think I have a ways to go. You have people like Lars Christensen who demystifies a lot of that for you. He has weekly live streams where he goes through significantly complex topics. Once you get into a certain mode, you can start modeling. And I mean, look at Garrett. Garrett is using Fusion 360. Didn't he do the Iron Giant in Fusion 360?
Yeah, Yeah,
I mean,
he used
that's
Fusion for that.
the modeling capability. Once you get a couple sketches, see, I wasn't aware of that in the beginning. When you get a couple sketches, you start extruding, you can start working with the model and almost forget the sketches. But then if you watch some of Laura's videos, you can still have the base sketch be your center point for your overall design, so that when you change the sketch, it's reflected all the way through into the model in your timeline. That part I don't understand yet. I've done it for easy things, but when you start getting way complex in your timeline and far ahead, I'm not sure how that propagates.
Yeah, that's exactly the same problem I have when I've done a complex model. Going back to an initial sketch and chase it, everything will screw up. So you have to design your workflow, I think, for have more constraints on so objects don't change in shape differently than you expect them to do when you change the sketch. So.
Well, the biggest suggestion I can give you there, and this kind of ties into Craig 3D's question on when designing, what is the best suggestion to keep your models printable for new people? It's actually a lot easier than you think it is. I do a lot of complex things, like the table that I just designed is overly complex and very big, but I did it in stages, and that's kind of what the advice I would give to anybody working in Fusion 360 is the great part about it is that you can design something, a piece of something, until you've got it right. And then you can go to a new page, a new design, and design the next part of it. And you can pull that other piece into your working progress once you save it. And you can cut and paste and move everything around. And I design things in stages. Like for the clamp that I'm working on, I'm building this entire thing out of recycled metal that I've got from like 7 old steel bed frames I bought off Craigslist, because I'm not going to spend that much money on wood clamps when I know I can just make it. But I designed each piece, like I designed the rail at one time so that I had what I wanted, and then I knew what I needed the 2 different clamp sides to go into, so I designed it in a whole different area. So at one point I didn't have the giant main body of it in my way, but I knew I could go back to the other panels to see my references and my measurements, and then I could design what I wanted. And then once I kind of worked out all the 3 main pieces that I would need, then I could bring all those 3 pieces together and kind of figure out how they fit together correctly, and then go from there on what needs to be adjusted and what needs to be changed. So my suggestion is keep it simple. Break your, if you're going to do a complex model, if you're going to do something that's bigger or large amounts of polygons or large amounts of design work, break it down into manageable sections. Give yourself smaller goals. That way you're not trying to design an entire robot, for example, in one go in Fusion 360, where you've got this and that, and then you're looking at, oh, well, the ankle piece that I've designed doesn't match with the foot that I'm working on, and it's you have to keep going backwards to fix things and work in a direction that turns into something that's way more bitten off than you can chew. It's a terrible phrasing, but break it down into sections. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, you can use the components elements in Fusion to break out, so you have different timelines for each component.
Yeah.
So you don't end up with an endless timeline.
Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about going backwards too far or anything like that when you're working with anything. It's much easier to do it piece by piece. And as for designing things that are printable, I tend to do a sketch right out of the gate on the bottom floor, something that I can turn on and off with the little light bulb that's in Fusion 360 of my bed size. Starting off, I have that sketch permanently there, so that I know kind of how things are going to lean or whatever when I'm printing it.
Oh, that's a good idea. I gotta consider doing that. And I always use the XY plane in Fusion 360. I didn't used to do that in the beginning, and I'd have to rotate the pieces in Slicer.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at when you have an object there, because in Fusion 360, you're essentially, it's a giant white canvas in three-dimensional space, and you really have no variance on gravity or anything like that. But if you give yourself just a simple box, and I mean, you can even create an object that has thickness to it that is your build plate if you want, and you can make that object disappear and reappear as you need to as you're kind of going through. Just remember, when you export your STL file into your slicer, to remove that object, or you're going to end up with a much bigger problem when you start printing. That's why I just use a sketch square on the ground level, because that won't transfer over. It's not a physical object. It's just a sketch.
Yeah, Wellbot is saying you can also use canvases that you can use for that purpose.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Craig, sure, no problem, man. If you ever have any questions in relation to design, I have lots of experience with AutoCAD, Fusion 360, Blender, whether it be physical object or organic. Hit me up on Twitter or whichever. I'm happy to answer any questions. And that goes for anybody if you have questions along the lines of design. And anything that I design on the channel, all my designs are going to be up for grabs. If you want to use them, it's fine. I don't care. I'm not going to sell them or anything like that. I'm not trying to make crap tons of money on this wood clamp I'm designing. That's not what I make for. I make things to make things.
Yeah, same. If I design something that I see that can be in general use, I put it on Thingiverse. But when I design something that is really specific, like the holder for my power brick, I doubt that you can find the same type of power brick that I bought in my hardware store some years ago here in Iceland. So it's no use for people. But if it's a general object, then I put everything on Thingiverse. And all the test files I used, like for my filament testing, I put those all on Thingiverse, and I like to design my own test files as I go along with filament testing to test out different properties of printing.
No, that's really cool. Paul asked, does Fusion 360 have some kind of floor function? He did something in Blender that tries to automatically put the largest surface area on the build plate. To my understanding, Fusion 360 does not have a floor function. It does have a cube up in the top right-hand corner of the screen that represents things in a three-dimensional space. You have top, bottom, front, back, left, and right, but there is no floor function specifically. Now, if I am wrong on that, please correct me. I do not know. But I think Tinkers is correct. I think it is based. It's just based on plane orientation. Brian, to answer your question real fast, not to take up so much time, I do not do design work for my full-time job. My full-time job is that I'm an application support coordinator. But I did go to school at Full Sail University for video game design. I did get my bachelor's degree, and getting into that field is extremely hard to do. But I do have large amounts of experience, and I've worked with several game companies helping with design structure on a contract basis. So I've done lots of design work. Let's see. Are there any other questions in here?
Yeah, what are you building, Glenn and Xander?
Yeah, I forget that not everybody was with us on the Chris Riley stream earlier, but this is a, and I'm going to say it as Tronxy. Some people say it as Tron XY. I think it's more fun to say Tronxy and the way it's written. But anyway, it is the Tronxy X1, and
it looks like an Ender 2.
Well, you know how everybody copies everybody anyway.
Yeah, it looks like a better Ender 2, though.
Well, my advice to you, if you want to buy one of these, is don't. It's already not been fun. It's really
too much
it's just like the instructions are telling me to use these M5 screws. There are no M5 screws. It uses M4s instead. And this piece right here wobbles around and there's no adjustment to it. And
they give us this.
Yeah, well, the Phillips screwdriver is the nicest thing that's in this whole kit so far.
This?
No, this one.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's like a knockoff
I want
Craftsman. Yeah.
I'd say I would echo your sentiment with that, with the Ender 2. If you're thinking about buying it, just don't.
You know, it's so funny because the Ender 3 is getting such great reviews.
It's completely different, though. It's not that single arm.
It's like, how do you get a company that makes a great printer and a crappy print? You know, like two different divisions of people designing it, or, you know, like.
When they try to copy each other's design in that particular design frame, I think the only one that I've seen that actually works is the the Tivo Michelangelo, I think, which is it's the same setup with the way that the extrusions are set up, except they put all the electronics on the bottom, and it's more of a turnkey printer. But it's the only one that I've seen with that particular setup. They're all trying to make their own version of the Monoprice Select Mini, but a little bit larger.
Yeah, well, this one's turnkey. You turn the key and then you run it over because it's such a piece of crap.
But don't.
Or throw it out the window, or burn it.
But yeah, this was sent to us by GearBest, and we thank GearBest for sending it. We thank them for the challenge. But they sent it back in November, and we're just now getting around to putzing with it. But yeah, I definitely would not put this at the top of my lists of go out and buy printers. But we'll see. I don't know. If you've never watched Chris Riley's video about this, you have to go watch it, because the beginning of the video he comes in and he goes, "All right, let's do this. It's the Tronxy XY, everyone." And you can just see the disdain on his face. So yeah, we kind of knew we were in for trouble when we got here. But I mean, this whole axis like wobbles around, and there's no adjustment. All the rest of them are nice and tight, like they're drilled right where they need to be. But this one, it's sloppy, and there's no adjustment to it. So.
And every print is
Dave Randolph said the Ender 3 is a cute junk printer. Not amazing, but it's got the basics. Yeah, and this is probably a knockoff of that one, so. Yeah. Well, you asked, Martin. You got it, so.
Yeah. Thanks.
I don't know. We'll see. I got to put it together because it was given to me as a review unit. So I'll put it together and we'll try printing with it. I'll do a review on it, and then I'll take it apart and turn it into something else, like a robot.
No.
You know, Keith, on Twitter, Keith Developer, Keith. I know that he's not everyone's favorite person.
That name's familiar, but I'm not sure who you're talking about. But anyway,
He's pretty much the guy on Twitter who's always ragging the larger 3D.
I know. I was
I'm
being,
about to say, if you don't know who Keith is, where have you been?
yeah.
But anyway, he had mentioned about innovation in the 3D printing space and how everyone is just copying everybody else and coming out with their own versions of the same stuff. And then he gave kudos to like Slice Engineering about the Mosquito Hot End for actually coming up with something that wasn't a clone of something else. And I would love to see that, you know, that innovation. That was one of the few times I actually was like looking at a tweet that he put out, and I was like, yeah, I actually agree with him on this one. I would just love to see more innovation in the 3D printing space and less everyone copying everybody else. But
I agree. Much like the Fun King 3D FK1 printer, which is completely different than everybody else's. I just had to throw that in there.
Well, I mean, they all have, you know, a lot of things in common. I mean, we've got, you know, let's look at our main form factors. We've got the Ultimaker form factor with the bed on Z that raises and lowers, and then we've got the Prusa form factor with Y on the bed that goes backwards and forwards. And you know, those are the two main form factors that we see in 3D printing, and we see different.
XY and Cartesian.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll also got to throw in the deltas as well, but you know, it's the Core XY drive system, but you don't have to have Core XY drive system and have this Ultimaker.
That's very true. That's very true.
You look at the FT5 from Folgertech, and it is not Core XY. It's standard Cartesian with the way that they design theirs. But the same way, yeah, different drive systems, but the same form factor.
Right.
And then,
and honestly, not joking around, Joe Mike. I don't know if you've seen my design for the FK1, but it's a stationary bed, but it's not Core XY. Like I tried to do it completely different than anything I've ever seen. So, yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's more innovation. Let's do it. Let's stop just rehashing the old stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna like tell, you know, Joe Prusa to stop making versions of his printer, because I mean that's his baby. It works, and he just refines it. But then everyone goes out and clones it, which is fine because it's open source. But at the same time, it's also putting a damper on, you know, maybe these companies out there that just keep copying these other printers. Maybe there's someone in that company who could actually come up with something that we've never seen before, and they're stuck having to come up with a clone version of a Prusa or a clone version of a Castle or, you know, a clone version of an Ultimaker, and it's, you know, I don't know. Yeah, David put it right. Frame designs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely want to see something new, some different type of movement system, some different frame design, something different. But in retrospect, I also want to see more DIY, more rip-rap designs and stuff like that. And I also want to see someone DIY an actual SLA printer. Personally, I want to see more of those. I want that to become bigger than it actually is right now.
One of the other reasons I enjoy making my own stuff and designing my own stuff and 3D printing is that I get better at it. So when I participated in the We the Rosies, I contributed a significant number of parts to it. But the cool thing was that I already understood how to take a part that was already modeled and may not look right on the bed, and I could flip it around and split it into 2 pieces. If I was just like 2 months into 3D printing, I don't think I would have been able to participate, with satisfactory prints on that. So that allowed me to contribute to that, which I thought was pretty cool, being part of that project. And then subsequently, we participated in the F3DPCH.
You're talking about your design. Your design experience helped with print orientation for print accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, for this group who's listening, it seems trivial because they're like, yeah, okay, I know that. But for me, that I was able to quickly see the part and knew that, all right, this way that it's oriented now, by default, is not going to work well. So I'm going to flip it a different orientation because I know it'll print better.
Yeah, like what I do with my landscape to get better detail in the model, I flip it on its side, so I'll get don't get the layer change, layer height, roughness on the model itself. So that's with the organic model, like the community build. That's the same.
Yeah, how do you print your parts now? You do it vertically?
Yeah, the landscape stand up on the bed. So I create like a 1 centimeter thick brim around it. If the model is a thin model, but I have it standing up, and usually I have it rotated 45 degrees on the bed, so I can use the longest part of the bed to get a bigger model.
I got you. I have to watch one of your videos again, how you did it.
Yeah, I've done a video where I go through the process of preparing the model and prepare it for print and how I print them. So I have a tutorial video on that.
Yeah, I don't really do a lot of prints like that. Like I print everything in one go, kind of like you do. Not saying that you print all of yours in one go all the time, but almost everything I print is segmented pieces from some bigger project I'm working on. Like the R2 that I'm printing out is like each piece is like one of like 50 or 60 different pieces. And there's smaller pieces that then get glued and assembled together later. And I mean, I there is not a printer big enough to print this whole thing out in one go that I have access to. I'm sure it exists, but I don't have access to it. But like I'm getting ready to start printing out the undercarriage for the Fallout 4 power armor, which I'm then going to print out power armor to attach to it. That's also going to have to be printed out in pieces. Everything I print out is in pieces. And as my wife says, when with anything I'm printing, she refers to it as some assembly required.
Yeah, like this piece is like almost 2 feet high, and this is in a 3-part piece. And I made this monument. I draw it up in Fusion 360, and I printed it out. And it's a 3-piece part that is glued together. So if you're gonna do a bigger piece, you have to do some gluing.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with printing things in one go. I mean, I've printed my fair share of Benchies and Martians and gnomes and stuff like that, and I mean, everybody does. Just because of the type of design work I do or the things I print out, it is more along the lines of assembly needed, which allows you to get into that design process of, oh, okay, now not only do I have something that I have to print, but now I need to figure out how I'm going to make them connect. Whether you're printing out a sword or something that you want to be held together, whether you're going to have a giant hollow center that you're going to put a dowel rod through, or if you're actually going to print out smaller dowels or smaller connection pieces as well to connect all these things to. Maybe it's adding to the complexity of design for some people to think along those lines, but that's just how my brain works on a normal basis.
Yeah, no, like Garrett that printed out the Iron Giant for Murph. When he did the model, he spent quite amount of time after he created the initial model to make it printable and in such a way he could assemble it by printing out parts and having them assembled. So if you're working on a big object, you have to design it in a way that it can be assembled.
Can I have just a moment? A couple of people in the chat have asked to see the printer. Can I show it? Is that all right? I don't want to.
Yeah, you can show it. I also gave you moderators so that you can post links. I'm sorry I didn't get that part before. I try to get everybody that's on the panel into moderation.
That's all right. That's all right. So I'm assuming as I talk that it's up. So this is not the most up-to-date current copy of the design, but for the most part, this is what it looks like. For those that were asking, the bed is 100% stationary. It does not move in any way, shape, or form. The extruder moves on the y-axis here. This whole assembly moves across here for the x-axis, and this frame right here goes up and down for the z. And that's how I got away with a stationary bed, and that is a 1/4 inch thick or 6 millimeter mix 6 cast aluminum plate. So it is it's already pre-stressed, so even when it heats, it will not warp, which will be exciting. It'll be a nice flat surface. So, and as of right now, it's designed to use a Bondtech extruder with a E3D V6 hot end. And I ended up having to dump the pancake motor. It's got a full-size NEMA 17 motor because I don't think that's going to have enough torque to push the extruder. And that cable chain isn't actually there anymore because it didn't work out. But yeah, so far that's what it looks like. So thanks for that moment.
Hey, not a problem. I made sure that I clicked on your name so that even if you had stopped talking, you would have stayed up.
So will that be, since it has a stationary bed, are you going to keep it manual bed leveling, or are you going to use some form of auto bed leveling?
Yeah, I've got an inductive probe on there, so mesh bed leveling.
Fun. How big is the bed?
It is 400 millimeters deep by 1200 millimeters wide, or 16 inches by 48 inches.
Wow.
And about 475 millimeter height. Now it's scalable. So once this works, and it's got to work, and I release the files, if you didn't want to build it that big, I mean, you'd be able to make it really any size that you wanted to. And if you wanted to go bigger, I'm sure it could go bigger. So,
man, yeah, that would be like something you would need to once you refined it and got it working. Midnight Giant, he would go gaga over that thing.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, it would definitely help his big prints. I just, again, this all started because I fell in love with the G-Create Big, and they don't actually sell that, and I couldn't afford it anyway. And I went to Gordon at Murph, and I said, hey, I love the Big. I can't afford the Big. I'm going to rip you off. And he looked me dead in the eyes and he said, do it. It's so much fun. Do it. And so he was kind enough to show me some of the hurdles that he had with the Big, and told me how to overcome them. And so I designed the printer to be that way. And then it was James from Print and Play that said, how heavy is the bed? And I said, 16 pounds. And he said, wow, what about the 10 pounds of filament you're going to put on it? And I said, I didn't even think about that. And he said, make the bed stationary. So scrapped the whole thing and redesigned it again. And then at IRF, I showed it to Sanjay from E3D, and he looked at it for what felt like forever, but it was about 10 seconds and said, why did you make the extruder move on the long way instead of on the short way? And I said, because I'm an idiot and you're smarter than me. So I came home and I redesigned it again. So, yeah, I'm excited. Joe Paddock's asking if there's a multiple heater for that bed. It is not. It's going to be one. It's a 120 volt heater, 120 volt silicone heater. It is the only thing that I'm not going to put on it in the beginning. I'm going to build the printer without it and make sure that it works before I buy the heater, because the heater is the only thing that I can't reuse for something else.
Are you going Kinovo?
What's that?
Are you going with a Kinovo heater?
I don't know. Somebody I found through AliExpress. They're
Okay.
going to custom make it. They're going to put the holes where I need them for the standoffs, and we'll run the wires out wherever I want them. About $130 for the heater.
That's not too bad for that size bed, actually.
No, well, the bed, that's about how much the bed's going to be too. So, but I figured even if it doesn't work, I can cut that bed in half and make 2 smaller beds out of it, or 3 smaller beds. You know what I mean? Like everything else there can be reused. The heater would be just trashed after that. So,
Midnight in the chat said, if you need a person to test this, I'm free.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have to do some collaboration on that. So, and Matt said, when are you going to start building? I'm at the point now where the last piece of design is the cable management, which is what took the longest the last time. And I've decided I'm not going to design the cable management. I'm going to build the printer and then work out the cable management after, because I think I truly over-engineered it the last time. So, yeah.
I'm really good with cable management if you need help.
Well, you know what the biggest problem was? The length of which is, I guess it's now I guess it's still the x-axis, but managing that, the run for the extruder, sorry, is short enough now that I can get by pretty lightweight, and even the Z going up and down, I can get away with pretty light. But that length, running that 100 or 1200 millimeters is going to be the kicker.
Why is that motor going to be moving? Why wouldn't you make it stationary?
Which one?
For that, none of your motors should move. They should be, the only one that should move is the one that's running back and forth for your y-axis, right?
Let me pull it up again so that
You're running all the axes You're running all the axes off belts, except
axes.
Well, he's got the motor on the Y mount in the center. I think.
Am I up? Can you guys see that?
Yeah. So your Y motor is on the X axis.
Right. It is on this plate, and it'll move the whole run. It'll move that whole 1200 millimeter run with that belt. Oh, that's going to get laggy because I'm streaming at the same time. That belt, you can see it. It'll come around this end. It hooks to the back of this carriage, comes around, goes down. Let's see if I can get in here to show you guys. It comes in around this wheel, out around this pulley, back in around that wheel. And then this motor, I can actually tension this motor. I can slide this motor in or out to set the tension on the belt. And then it goes back around this pulley and back to the center. So that motor moves with this carriage, which I guess would be the y-axis.
Yeah, maybe your y-axis carriage. I think you're right, but that should be the only motor that you're moving. The best way to deal with your cable management at this point is to put all of your components and everything up top. That way, you've got the minimum distance and the minimum wire needed for that thing to run back and forth. So your wire for your motor, your power for your extruder, your temperature gauge, and maybe one end stop is literally the only wires that you would need to run there. And your fans.
Yeah, we got two fans. We have the probe. Oh, sorry, it's really laggy.
That's okay.
We have the two fans, we have the probe, and then we have the motor wires here. And my thought is again, that cable chain's not going to be there, but my thought is, something similar, either either a loop or just an arch, you know, with something rigid in there to get it over here, because that's a pretty short, that's a pretty fair, you know, fair size run, you know, pretty short.
This is just a question, and it is your design, so I don't think I'm trying to change anything.
Totally open to suggestions. That's how I've got where I am.
Why not put your motor in the middle?
This motor?
Yeah,
because it'll hit the Z rod.
Okay, that's fair.
I had the same exact thought. This thing is rock solid though, because if I'm thinking the same thing you're thinking because of the moment of inertia,
right?
It's going to be heavy on one side. But now keep in mind that both of these are driven. That's what this drive shaft is for. You see this shaft, and this motor doesn't hang off over here anymore. It's up on top, and then it's got a endless belt, and then it drives 2 belts here that go down each one to one of these. So technically there shouldn't be any cant or skewing of it. Like it should run even on both sides regardless of the weight.
So your x-axis is synchronized.
Right. In theory.
In theory.
In theory. So I understand why you threw the cable chain in the beginning, because of it carrying the wires back and forth for your extrusion assembly.
Right.
That makes sense.
It's just for the stuff on here. But again, I mean, I could just hop it, you know, rainbow from one to the other. But I also don't want it poking up through the top of this thing because I'm going to have cables or filament spools up here. So I'm trying to keep it somewhat low profile. Now I found a website and I don't even remember where it was, but they used a piece of a tape measure. You know, when you pop a tape measure over in half.
Yeah.
You know how it'll kind of stay with itself.
Well, that's how they used to make those snap bracelets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So they put a piece of a tape measure in through, like they wrapped all their wires in the wire in the meshy kind of wire jacket, and then I
use a lot of that.
They ran it through another piece with the piece of a tape measure, and it worked pretty well. So I might give that a go, just, you know, in a test environment and see how that does. So
yeah, you can get the same material they use for tape measures. You can buy that stuff in bulk, rolls of it. Yeah, but I can get a free tape measure from Harbor Freight. No, I meant along the lines of mass production. If you were ever planning on.
Oh, no, I don't want to be a printer manufacturer. My plan for this printer is I'm going to build one and I'm going to make sure it works. And then if nobody comes with a big fat check wanting to buy the design, then I'm going to give it away to the public. I'm going to let anybody build one that wants to build one. So, and I've been very careful about trying to only use parts that I can source. You know, like I didn't go out to my garage and dig around and say, oh, this will work, because I want everybody to be able to build one. I want to be able to put out a bill of materials and say, this is where you can get the stuff. And then, you know, give them the option to go find it somewhere else if they want to. So.
No, that's fair. I mean, it's a good assembly system setup. It looks like it'd be very functional.
I hope so. I hope so, because I'm going to go through a whole lot of work and a lot of money, and I want it to be functional.
Yeah.
Like a 400 by 400 by 400 version of your setup. That'd be cool.
I think that's completely obtainable. I mean, you could go tall with it if you wanted to, because the bed doesn't move. So you could go like 1 foot by 1 foot by 10 foot tall if that's really what you wanted to do. So
well, it's almost like you've taken the static bed of the console and then threw a Cartesian on top of it.
Almost. So the big question is, has anybody ever done this?
I've never seen it before.
I only have one printer.
I intentionally did not, like when I ran into trouble, I didn't go out and research to see how other people would do it. I didn't want to. I wanted it to be all out of my head, you know, and if it works, then I get all the credit. And if it fails, it's all my fault. So.
Well, I mean, even if the printer doesn't work, I'm trying to be very optimistic about it.
I'm up to $8, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. That $8 was for my wife, actually. He outbid me. No, but the movement actually is a very intriguing idea. By comparison to what I'm used to building. I mean, I've built Cortesians, I've built Deltas, and I've built the Core XY, but I've never built a movement kind of like how your design is set up. That movement alone can change a lot of concept ideas.
It's known as the FK movement. It's a Core FK. That's what they were calling it. That's what they were calling it in the chat. Not in this chat. In the chat, when I talked about it on one of my streams.
Oh, like, 12:15.
They're like, what are we gonna call this movement? And yeah, the Core FK. So yeah, $12.15. Of course, I don't know. Chris Lane made a pretty good offer of $5.37 in a jar of pickles.
I don't like pickles.
I got to roll Matter Hacker Pro for that design. So the main thing that's holding me up right now, other than a big bag of money, is I need filament, and I'm working with a company. Some people know already, and some people don't. But I'm working with a company that's specially making me my Fun King 3D yellow PETG, and I'm so excited. So,
all right, is it AIO?
It is not. It is not. They're actually not a
Protoplasta?
filament manufacturer. I mean, they just rebrand.
They're
And
just
yes,
reselling.
I do love me some AIO robotics, but they're just now getting back into the PETG market. But no, it's a manufacturer.
Protopasta?
No,
Atomic?
no.
If I hit it, would you actually tell me?
I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter because the owner of the company told me it's coming. So I guess yeah, Matt's got it. It's IC3D. So
Yes.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I should have guessed.
of course it makes sense. I mean, I have their stuff. I mean, I have their logo tattooed on my cheek.
I don't know. You had told us at ERF about it. And I completely forgot.
Well, it was leaked to me a little bit before that, but being that IC3D was releasing their PETG, which, by the way, this is the only roll of purple in existence, and I got it. Being that they were releasing their PETG at ERF, then they went ahead and confirmed with me that, in fact, they showed me pictures of the pellets that were delivered to make the filament. So, yeah,
That's awesome, man.
I'm excited. So, and they're making me PLA as well that matches. So I will have
really?
I will have both filaments that match in color.
Awesome.
So now we haven't gotten to the point where we've agreed to put the Fun King name on it yet, and I can understand totally if they decide not to do that. But either way, it's fine. It's my color, and that's what's important. Chris Lane, I have not bought the extrusions yet.
Well, that's like I said before. It's like high five blue. I mean, it's even if crap goes down between you and them, they're not stuck with this color.
We were kicking around some ideas like Funshine Yellow, or
Print on yellow, or the
Print on Yellow, or
print with yellow.
King's Yellow.
King's Crown Yellow.
Yeah,
Your peasant has
like-
yellow.
like
I think we
anything-
should just call it Xander Yellow and be done with it.
Xander Yellow. Yeah,
Or Zello.
because I mean, like, and again, we haven't had the conversation yet, but I mean, my thought was if they were kind enough to say, okay, this is going to be Fun King 3D Yellow, and we established a great relationship, and it was selling like hotcakes, which I hope it does, and then all of a sudden I get on my Twitter or on my YouTube one night, and I just like blow a bunch of racial slurs and completely just nuke my channel, then it could revolve around to them too because of the affiliation. So I could understand. I could understand hesitation, but who knows? They might just go, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it. We'll see knockoffs. Kung Fing 3D. Listen, I don't know. I don't know if you know, some of you who were just tuned into Chris's live stream that I was on. I'd said I showed the design. I showed the design to everybody that I could at Earth, including the people from Creality. And I kid you not, when I picked up my book, I said to him, I said, I want to show you the project that I have designed. Please don't steal this from me. And then I flipped it and showed him the picture. And then they promptly spoke in Chinese a whole lot, and they kept taking pictures of my pictures. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. They didn't.
So I saw that, but I didn't know that's what that was at Earth. So I completely glanced over what you were trying to present me.
So you didn't get to see it. Well, now you got to see it. I don't know. Like it was funny because I've been working with IC3D for a while now to get the custom yellow made. They didn't make a yellow. They made a yellow ABS, but it's kind of orangey. And so I'm like, you guys got to make the PETG in yellow. You got to, and that's, I don't know if you've seen the goofy little video that Xander and I made where he was pretending to be asleep. And I don't know. If you didn't see it, you got to go see it because there's like 10 minutes of outtakes that were hysterical. But I made that just as a prod at them to get them to make the filament. And so then I was talking to, and I'm going to get this wrong. I think his name was Mike, the owner of the company. And I said, have you seen my project? And he's like, no. And I'm like, seriously? I've been trying to get you to make filament for something you haven't even seen. So then I took him over and showed it to him. So, yeah. Dave Randolph said, yep, Creality stopped by to talk to us at our shop. We covered up all our secrets. We had to go buy more tablecloths. There were so many. They actually came to the shop. Wow, that's whew. What? Oh yeah, Xander wants to get going on this stuff. But thank you for letting me take that time and show that off. I'm really excited about it, and there's going to be a ton of content coming, which is a huge thing to me too. I mean, I should get a year's worth of content out of this. But the printer has to be done in the next 4 months. It has to be done for Orlando Maker Fair at the beginning of November.
I think we can do that.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
what are you using PETG to hold it together, or are you doing everything metal?
Well, it's all the aluminum extrusions, a lot of the small, the small aluminum. I don't know if you can see that, but the little corner brackets and stuff to give it added support. But
Yeah,
all
good.
of the printed parts will be PETG, all the carriages and stuff.
At Orlando Maker Fair, are you enclosed or are you outdoors?
No, we'll be inside. We'll be in the air conditioning. I'm going to specifically request the very, very cold building that they had last year.
They had
So,
very, very cold.
Where the chocolate ladies were. That building was freezing. So I would agree with you, David. He said, yeah, we're kind of a big deal. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I wanted to interview them, and I kept going by their spot, and
Oh, printed solid?
yeah, Jesus.
you
I
almost
mean, it's like I
Get to the table.
I did not want to interrupt him because I mean, David's like, look, we would have dropped everything. I'm like, look, no, I didn't want to do that, but man, it's like I couldn't get one word in. All I could do was be like, wait, hi.
No, it was awesome. They were cranking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I got a couple minutes to talk to them before setup on Friday, and they were just so busy after that, and I didn't want to interrupt anybody. I'm still trying to make time to head out to Printed Solid to kind of see everything at their shop, but I haven't had time for that either.
Yeah, they were busy, and I made them stamp index cards for my giveaway. So
Yeah, they have a meetup. So if you're in the area, they'll periodically have a meetup. Maybe it's once every 3 months or once every 2 months. They try to do it whenever they can. And they actually schedule it on Meetup, whatever that site is called. Is it called Meetup? And you just sign up and try to get there. I think it's usually on a Sunday. I think they schedule it at 10 o'clock.
yeah, I wish we were closer.
And it works out well because, it's like a show and tell because people bring their things. Like Chris the one time brought the OpenRC. I missed the event where the droids were there, R2D2 and BB-8, but and they'll trade secrets. So like you're trying to figure out how to print with a certain filament, and they'll give you the idea on how to calibrate. And then David said one time that You know, you get things dialed in for a certain filament, and then you print the same filament, different color. You probably need to recalibrate again for that color. So insider secrets like that.
Absolutely. And you know what's funny is I found green filaments seem to be the most difficult.
They are. They string like crazy. And even from roll to roll in the same brand, I know I'm off camera right now. I'm sorry, but I'm actually fighting some Filamentum Vertigo Gray at the moment. This is just a second roll, so I can finish up the Donager. And this stuff is not sticking to PEI like my other one, so now I'm trying it on the Gecko Tech. But it's just weird how from roll to roll it's different.
David said in chat that they're terrible at keeping secrets. It's a good thing. They're very successful because of their wealth of knowledge and willingness to share it.
And that's one of the things that makes this community so awesome is the amount of sharing that does take place.
So John Pickens. Yeah, what's up, Dave? John Pickens said that Sunday, July 22nd is the next Printed Solid meetup.
Hey, everybody, it's Dave.
What's up? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, you sound fine.
Yeah.
Where's my pulse?
I don't know. Check your left wrist just below your arm right there. You might be able to find something. You visited a couple weeks ago, man.
I thought for sure he was going to say, where's the rest of my Dave facts?
They're all up here.
That light is terrible. Is this light better? All right.
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Yeah, much better.
I'm at home eating dinner, and I figured I had like 30 seconds, so I was like in the chat. I was like, I think I know how to get into this thing, even though I haven't ever before. I don't know how. I'm a deadbeat. This is Jax. He's going to join.
Well, you want to go ahead and give yourself your introduction since you're here?
Yeah,
What's up,
tell
guys?
everybody
Hey,
who you are because nobody knows.
Dave from Matter Hackers. That's about it. MatterHackers.com. If you don't know it, go check it out.
He once wrestled a bear with his bare hands.
You'll just do live Dave facts?
Hashtag. Dave
Fair
facts.
enough.
Nice. Yeah, I only got a couple minutes, but any questions you guys got or whatever, rifle away, man.
Yeah, when are y'all going to send me a Matter Hackers t-shirt? I don't have one to go with my stream yet.
They're strategically not for sale, so
I know, that's the problem.
I
But
don't know
if
if
you
they make
come
one in camo.
if you come find us anywhere at any show, we always have like a couple hundred like shirts just hanging around. So
Yeah, you could have got one from them at Earth. Oh, wait, no, they didn't come to Earth. And we missed
was
it.
not there. No,
We
Well,
missed
I wish
it.
we could.
there was
We had
representation
4
there.
shows that same weekend, so I couldn't make it because we had 4 shows that same weekend. But it looked fun,
Oh, yeah, we
How's
had a
you-
blast.
How's your daughter?
dude. I'm doing some serious dadding right now. He's asleep, so we're good. I crushed some tikka masala, and now we're ready to go. She's in bed. Yeah, how's development of daughter going,
We got 1 month from today.
dude? You're as much as you can go out to dinners with a piece of luggage, and then eventually a kid that throws food at you for as long as you can.
Well, I already have a wife that throws food at me, so I'm prepared.
Give you a helpful hit. As soon as you bring it home, turn on all your televisions, run all your printers,
Yeah.
set the vacuum cleaner up in the baby's room for the
Get
first
it used
couple
to the
weeks.
noise.
Yeah, because then
Yeah.
it'll never wake up.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to wake up. That's. Oh, let's not talk about that.
I was gonna
Anyway,
say, what,
Dave.
never ever?
I meant startled awake.
Oh man.
Nice.
I
So
knew what I meant.
Dave, how's the warehouse coming over on the East Coast?
Dude, we made our first shipment from that warehouse today. So
Nice.
things are going well. I think.
I would like to chime my opinion in on that, Dave, that I'm very disappointed, being that you guys are in Orange County, California, that you didn't come to Orange County, Florida. I just want to put that out.
Yeah, that's a. I guess we'll take that. That's a fair statement.
If I can defend Dave on his behalf, though, I mean, Florida is like one of the most like humid places in the United States, and they're storing filament. So going north makes more sense.
I mean, Pennsylvania in the summer is not exactly a dry place to be either, especially compared to the desert of Southern California.
It's not the swamp that's Florida, though.
I store my filament here all the time, Joe Mike, like all day, every day. And
but you're not reselling it, Glenn.
Yeah, but at least it would be acclimated when I buy it. It would already be used to being
pre-wetted.
I don't think you want it acclimated. You want it as dry as possible. It's only downhill from there. So
pre-wetted, just for Glenn.
For asking, we got the keys. I think like the week before IRF, and then we had one of our employees. Or actually, our biggest thing was like, hey, how are we gonna like manage this warehouse? And one of the dudes that was working in our vendor ops team's like, he's like an MBA, really smart kid. He's like, I'll move to Pennsylvania. Sounds good. So he got in his car and took like 4 days to drive to Pennsylvania from Southern California. Kind of set everything up over the last couple of weeks, and we got shipment from Ultimaker, Lulzbot, and I think Carbide. So we shipped out our first units from there this week. Like today was our first units we shipped.
Where in Pennsylvania are you, if you don't mind me asking?
It's in York. Yeah.
That's within driving distance. I need a job.
All right.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you want to put one in Missouri or Kansas, I don't mind moving to Missouri or Kansas.
Well, we worked with FedEx actually, so we gave FedEx and UPS our like the entire list of all the customers we have, their zip codes and stuff, and here's our distribution population of places we ship, and they kind of reverse engineered that list and said, okay, you're in Orange County, Southern California now. If you put it over here, you can reach like 80% of your people, and then kind of gave us the next couple dots on the map to hit as well. So we
cool.
Went forward. But yes, right now there's one dude in a big warehouse, and we are primed to hire a ton of people in the next coming months. So
I'll send you my resume.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, that'd be awesome. Honestly, we're gonna need to staff up like crazy. So
and just in case Dave doesn't hire you, Ryan, David Randolph from Printed Solid said they're hiring. So now you can do a battle between them to see who will pay you the most.
That's fair. Hey, working for David and Matt would be awesome. That's a great place over there.
Either way, you're working for a Dave.
Yeah.
That's good, because I'd hate to get the name wrong when I go to the interview.
Yeah, it should be easy. Should be easy.
Yeah, so are your Europe shipments coming from that warehouse now?
It's right now, all of our shipment distribution is based on what's at which warehouse. So things in the Southern California warehouse, and we're slowly trickling machines first and then filament into that Pennsylvania warehouse. But it'll be some time before we can get new shipments of everything, because we probably won't ship things from Southern California to Pennsylvania, but instead our next shipments that come in from wherever they are will be split up to go to the two places. So we'll do it slowly but surely.
Yeah, cool.
That's what she said. Sorry, I'm tired.
Yeah, it's late where you are, huh? It's only 8:30 here. I just got home from work.
8:30.
Yeah, it's 3:30 in the a.m.
Yeah, we can never complain as long as Marteinn is in the chat.
Yeah, Martin always one-ups every,buddy. Because it's 11:30 at night here, and Martin's like, "Oh yeah, well it's tomorrow here."
Yeah, it's like 5, right? Is it 4:30 or 5:30 there?
3:30 a.m. So half past.
Oh, okay.
Stupid international dateline.
Well, honestly, I never have a chance to do this because I get home from work, I like eat dinner, put the baby to bed, and then I'm like, okay, time to lounge and sit down. And then like tonight, finally, I was like, wait, this is happening.
That's awesome.
I think I can make it.
Glad that you got to stop by.
Hey, Dave, do you outfit your home with anything 3D printing related, as far as like maybe a trinket that looks really awesome for like a decor or something?
No, I usually have like the things that are 3D printed in my house are like things that are fixed that save me like a trip to Home Depot or something. So I have some like, curtains in the bathroom. What's that?
I do the same thing, practical printing type stuff. Yeah.
I was picturing Dave would have like a Matter Hackers Phil salt and pepper shaker set.
That is a very, very good idea.
That is a really good idea.
Get on that.
I support that idea. If that shows up on any of the design repositories, I would not be angry.
Matt from How I Do It asked, will your solo PA employee do local pickups?
Will our what?
Your solo PA employee do local pickups?
Local pickup, local drop-offs?
Yeah, I think that's what he meant.
No, but we've done literally probably more than once, like a dozen, maybe even 15 times. We'll have an Uber come, like an Uber pull up and say like, hi, I'm here to pick up this person's order. And then we give it to the person that was not the person that buy it, but this person that sent the Uber. And then the Uber delivers it. I don't know how. It's like one of those food delivery.
Grubhub, but it's a print hub.
It's like Uber Eats, but we need Uber Prints.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And I don't know how they arrange it. I think it's just a regular Uber, just a one-way trip.
Uber does have parcel delivery on its application, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
No. Were you able to hit any waves today?
Not today. Last Tuesday I went surfing was the last time there was really swell in the water to be able to do that.
Not quite as good as that week with the surf advisory.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Next week's supposed to be okay.
Yeah.
And the water just got up to like 67 degrees. That good too.
Nice.
Oh man, I haven't surfed in ages. I'd probably kill myself if I tried again.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. Yeah.
I wasn't very good at it to begin with. Give me a snowboard and I'm fine. Put me on something I'm not attached to. And
Yeah. So where are you out of? Close to York, you said?
I'm in Northern Virginia, but York is about an hour and a half from me, and me and the wife have been talking about moving out of Virginia as soon as possible anyways. So
nice. Cool.
If I can definitely move, because right now I work in DC. So I have to drive an hour and a half to work every day into psycho traffic.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like my job and I make okay money, but the stress is just killing me. The drive is killing me. My car is a 2015 and it has 176,000 miles on it.
Damn.
Oh, jeez.
Ryan, with that traffic that you face every day, they can't pay you enough. I'm telling you that right now. That was a horrendous couple of days that we spent there.
Yeah, but what I make working in DC, that same job locally where I live at, I would only make a third of what I make. It's that much of a difference. It is literally that much of a difference.
That's how it is here. I live on the Missouri side, and I drive over to the Kansas side because I'm a system administrator. Over here on the Missouri side, sys admins make about 30 grand less than they do on the Kansas side. And I'm talking like 30 miles difference. So I drive 30 miles and there's, that big of a wage gap between getting a job here and getting a job there. So it's worth crossing the state line for, because that's where all the major companies are over in Overland Park and around that area. So they pay the bigger bucks.
Yeah, it's sad. I've dealt with this the whole time I've been in this area, and I mean I have to travel to make a living, and the problem is because so many people in the area that I live in travel, the housing market here is shot. The average like 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment here is upwards of $1,600 to $1,800, and the average minimum wage here is still $7.75. I mean, it's completely screwed. The whole economy is just screwed. So I have to travel to work or I have to move. All right, so let's get back on the topic. We got a little far off of it there for a bit, but that's okay. We're getting towards about 11:30. Once we hit the 2-hour mark, we'll start kind of closing this down. So does anybody else have anything else that really motivates them to do design work along the lines of printing, whether it be a printer or whatever?
Well, I mentioned the studio lights before I got distracted by my MK3 barfing. Hold on one second.
And there it goes again.
Yeah, no, computer, prepare to film.
So what's the topic of the night? I'm like totally deadbeat and did not even look at it before I clicked.
The topic is kind of like what motivates you to design and print 3D things. So here is my new studio light setups that I've been using. I've got 3 of these now. This is my 3rd one. You can see it kind of off in the background up at the top there. But the whole idea behind it was to get my studio lights off of the floor. I wanted to get rid of the giant soft boxes that I kept hitting my head on and get the tripods off the floor. So I started designing brackets and different ways to hang studio lights. And initially I was going to hang those boxes, but then I figured I'll just get LED panels. This is terrible light. Computer, prepare to work. Basement is now in workshop. That's better. So now I printed out and designed. Anthony Tackett actually helped me design this. I designed it on paper and started making it in Fusion 360. And then my design sucked so bad because it wasn't printable. So he helped me make it printable. And then these other brackets I just got off Thingiverse. And these are Nylon X, by the way, Dave. They're strong as crap.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah,
functional printing at its best.
Yeah, the Nylon X is a little rough, so I didn't use it for this part because I needed it to be smooth. So I went 910 on that one. That's Tallman, but I mean that just simply slides onto this microphone stand, and then literally hangs from the ceiling using a 2020 extrusion and the brackets that I printed there. And then I went ahead and these are the ones that I designed after that, and it works. But these are just little brackets that I designed that perfectly fit the power supply for that light. So for me, I like designing to be specific about doing upgrades, and that's what keeps me designing.
That's awesome. That's the best reason. I will take this quick opportunity while I have a moment to answer the question too. So my background is mechanical engineering. I did undergraduate degree in engineering and then got my master's degree in biomedical engineering and then worked in the biomedical device industry for a long time. So I came from my roots are designing things and helping people. So some of the best things that I've ever, still the thing I have the most pride in. I don't know if you guys saw a couple years ago, we did that, look up the Brandy video. It was a Matter Hackers video where one of Mara's really good best friends has Dupuytren's contracture. So her hands, her tendons in her hands actually tighten. And so she walks around every day like this and can only move her thumbs about like that. So we actually did, based on some of the designs, I did an entire enable-based kind of design contest where we gave away an Ultimaker or Lulzbot at the end of it. It was pretty awesome. But the biggest friction she had in her life were she'd go to the gas station. And when she went to the gas station, she would not be able to put the credit card in the little slot and then remove it. So I made her a pair of 3D printed little forceps that just grabbed the credit card. And she's like, oh my God, these saved my life. I carry three of them around everywhere I go. And then she also has trouble holding a soda can. It takes 2 hands to hold a soda can. So I made like just a grip that wraps around a soda can. So things like that are helping people and inspiring people. Like that's what the whole Enable project and everything are hugely impactful to how I see 3D printing being used, not only today, but in the future. And the fact that people can do it from their freaking desks and in their basements and everything is so cool. And open source projects where engineers in their spare time or designers in their spare time are contributing to making these devices, designs, and everything better, and then throwing them out there for the public. So we did this design competition, and then now there's like 250 designs on who was it? My Mini Factory, or who was whatever the one that got bought by Formlabs was. They're all up there. It's like 230 designs now up there for the community to go print and help out whatever friends they have who have any trouble using their hands at all, really.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really like the Enable project. I thought that was like one of the coolest things to hit the community when I started seeing, especially when they started rolling out and you saw the different videos pop up on viral Facebook, and it's like 3D printing, and they like gave this, you know, kid his arm back, you know. It's like, wow, you know, and that could have been printed by someone that, you know, I know, which is just nuts because of that project.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I love it though.
Other than that, I fix goofy things around the house.
Yeah, I'm about to print a new toilet handle flusher thing, because the toilet that they got put in this house before we bought it, the people who owned it before us got some weird toilet, and I can't find a replacement flusher for it, so I'm going to print that. I just got to find a filament that's a little bit more forgiving with the water, since it's in water.
The piece you're printing out is the one that's in the water, not the actual like flush handle?
It's both.
Here's some of the things.
You'd be fine with like a PETG or something.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking. But the flex of PETG is almost a deterrent for me. Unless I reinforce it. I might be able to reinforce it and it'd be fine. But yeah, I mean,
if you design it with PETG with like the right, I mean, like moment of inertia, like the rod's not just going to be like a cylinder, but if you made it like a C channel or something like that, it'd be rigid enough. Like you can get PETG to be super rigid.
Well, it's the part that passes through the porcelain, I'm not too concerned with, nor the handle. It's the part that on the inside, there's that really, really long lever, and then it has the chain on the lever. That's the part that I'm concerned with, the PETG flexing too much and eventually wearing out. So,
Matt, from How I Do It, suggested nylon X should be fine with water.
Yep. Yeah, it should be fine with water.
Works fine for fins, doesn't it?
Sure does. Use them every time I go. Like that seems like it was a goofy story where I was like, I put them in for going to the beach and then I took them off and I've never used them again. They're still on 3 out of like my 7 surfboards in the garage. The ones I use most frequently.
Have you printed yourself a surfboard rack yet?
A rack? No, that's aggressive. And 2x4s are way too cheap.
Yeah, the only thing with the nylon X is like I'm taking the most expensive filament that I have in my shop and throwing it in the toilet, literally.
If you promote that like that, maybe I'll send you a roll. Just there's no such thing as bad publicity. A sponsored project.
Yeah. Thank you, Matter Hackers, for getting my wife off my back for this project.
I don't think it's as guilty as that Zortrax one they said, where they sent out everybody an email and said, throw your printers over the roof and then we'll send you a Zortrax, and then use hashtag I did it for Zortrax. Yeah,
no, I'm not doing that. I mean, I'll stick my head in like the toilet basin if... Why am I saying this? This is like Dave Facts when I volunteered for 365 days. I should have been like 30 days. Yeah.
You did it to yourself, bro.
I know, and I'm doing it again. I'll stick my head in the toilet for it, Dave. I'm an idiot.
You did this to yourself, all of it.
You need to take your printer and set it on your toilet and send him a picture on Twitter saying, "Help me, Dave, help me."
Help me, Gaylord. Help me, Gaylord.
There you go.
Here's some of the things that I worked on. I'll share my desktop. So I got just a quad gang switch plate to chorus style that I worked on. Designed that in Fusion 360, extruded it. That's with a wraparound. That's using the Matter Hackers Black there.
Come.
And then this was a fun little print I did.
Yes, I still have that.
And then over here, I designed a caddy for just stuff on the desk. I mean, it was just real easy. Like, why buy it on Amazon when I could design it 3D printed? So I did the whole design in the live stream. So.
I think Richard Murray just joined, and I heard a Star Trek noise. Was that you, Richard?
That was me.
Okay. Well, then you can
That
enter.
was my phone
Hello,
telling
Richard.
me that I actually finally got this working on my iPad. So I'm in Cowtown, Calgary right now. And we have a phone ringing somewhere. Hopefully somebody gets that. But it's the first time I've actually done this from the iPad. So getting used to the technology.
We'll go ahead and run through and give us an introduction. I've already put your information down in the description for your channels and stuff, so they'll be able to find you. But give us an introduction anyways, and let us know what motivates you to print as well.
What motivates me to print? Well, actually,
design and print.
Yeah, Richard, you are a little quiet, so if you can talk louder or closer.
I'm just actually being mobile right now. So I'm Richard. My focus is 3D printing for model trains. I'm looking for a place that actually has light in here. I'm in my mother's house, and she's in the process of moving. So we have boxes everywhere. But what motivates me to print is actually seeing many of the wonderful items that they used in, say, the 1800s for trains, the homes, just the period. So it's historic items. And you see those, I absolutely love that, and I want to bring those back for the hobby. One of the things I just came across with my mother's move here is a couple of Sears Roebuck catalogs. One I think is from 1890, and I forget the date of the other one. But they're reprints, but they have incredible items on there. And I know I'm going to be kept busy for a couple of years going through those catalogs and recreating those items to populate on the railroads. And once again, for the detail for doing that sort of work, that's why I moved over to SLA printing, because you can actually get the detail when you're printing with resins. But that's the main thing. It's just seeing all these incredible things that used to be everyday items, and then recreating them and putting them on a layout. I've also been involved with a historic community. It's an area in High River that's brought things in like a one-room schoolhouse and other such items, buildings. And what we've done with some of the artifacts we have is we take them to the trade fair, and we put up little signs, identify this. And we have 10 objects on the table, and people have to guess what the things were used for. Normally, we know what 8 of those 10 items were for. We don't know what the last 2 items were. So you get some really neat tools that used to be very common. We have no idea what they're used for today. But you add those, you put them on the layout, especially when you have a layout at a museum, and you get people go, oh, I used one of those as a kid. We used it to stitch up the sacks when we bagged up grain or something like that. So it's a way to bring some of those artifacts back to life.
Nice.
I do have a question, though. It's slightly off topic. And that is, I'm here in Calgary, and they've had a heat wave here, like what's been going on out east. But I was going, what do people do with their prints in the heat? And especially to protect them, you know, we've talked about having prints in the car, but when you're getting into the high 30s Celsius, which I have no idea what it is Fahrenheit, even in a house, it can take a lot of heat. So I'm wondering if people do a lot of the annealing in an oven or any other area to protect their prints.
Just put them in the fridge. Think I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Just put them in the fridge. We've been having 100-degree weather here in the Midwest, and there were a couple of things that I'd had out in my garage that were suffering from the heat. So I brought them in, stuck them in the fridge, and I have 3D prints in my fridge. So
that was not a joke.
It's not a joke, no. By the way, Dave, I noticed your sign in the back, and I just wanted to point out that I've got pretty much the same daggum one, just different design.
I handmade mine.
I did not.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm going to throw it away because it's inferior. So thanks for the one-up. Jerk.
I do it again. That's a Dave fact. He hand makes signs for his wife for Christmas.
Well, that's... Yep. Hashtag.
Yeah.
I'll also talk about another motivating force, not so much for me, but for my daughter. That's every time a new Star Wars movie comes out. Looking at all the items there and starting to design those and getting to print those out for cosplay. So the movies are an inspiration for her.
Makes sense. Computer, prepare the cave.
Basement is now in cave mode. Watch your step.
Show off.
Sorry.
Prepare the cave.
You go ahead and make your signs, Dave.
What did Hal say?
Huh? Oh, it says the basement's now in cave mode. Watch your step.
Yeah, that's cool.
When I go into filming mode, it goes basement's now in filming mode, happy filming. And then when I go into work mode, it goes basement's now in work mode, happy printing.
Yeah, I got the Google Voice thing, the DIY Google Voice. I got to assemble that and get that programmed. It's pretty similar, right, to Alexa?
Pretty much, yeah. I've got, in my basement alone, I've got 3 dots, each one with a different wake word. So Amazon is well aware of my everything.
I didn't catch that. Was that play the song it as well?
I didn't talk to you, Amazon.
Can we give it commands remotely?
One of them has the wake word of the A word down here, so
A word. Don't you dare say it.
I don't want you to play the song It Is Well.
It is well. Live.
No.
First world problems.
Yeah, I was gonna say that first world
Amazon.
problem.
Stop.
Oh my god, I gotta pull this clip out and put that on Twitter.
His home is going haywire.
Hal is attacking.
Rise of the Machines over here.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I'm trying to crack the one I've got, one of the ones I have, and change the voice from Alexa to Jarvis.
That'd be awesome.
I'm going through all of the movies that the actor was in and grabbing out words that he's done and seeing if I can reprogram set it. If I actually get it to work, I'll do a video on it. But that being said, we've reached our 2-hour mark. I'm going to keep the stream going just because I like to talk to people. So everybody's welcome to stay and chit chat or whatever. But let's go ahead and do our kind of outros, as it were, and we'll go from there. From my end, Dave, you want to go ahead and start?
Cool. What is an outro supposed to be?
Say bye.
Oh, bye. Thanks for having me.
Well, your social media and stuff, and how we find you and all that stuff.
I will do my best to not be a dead boy beat and join again. sometime soon. But yeah, with all you guys, let us know how we can help Matter Hackers, man. That's what we're here for. We love the community, love what you guys are doing. So keep a good thing going.
Fair enough. All right, Glenn and Xander.
I should have been more prepared because I kind of knew that we were coming next. But I'm Glenn.
I'm Xander.
And together we're Fun King 3D, and we're a father and son taking nap team. Pretty tired, but no, we do kinds of 3D printing and some electronic projects, and we're currently attempting to build this Trunks EX1, which is
piece of crap.
Well, I was going to say it's a marvelous toy, but and again, my big project right now is the FK1 printer, which is all I'm going to talk about probably for the next year. Oh yeah, but again, we're shooting to have it done for Orlando Maker Fair in November, which Matter Hackers should come and represent at, because they need to come to Florida once in a while.
Yes, we're down.
Yeah, no, it's like the first weekend in November. You can come hang out. You need a place to stay. You can shack up with Xander.
What?
All right.
No.
You and I are bunking up, bud.
You wouldn't let Dave sleep in your top bunk?
If he gives me a pulse to shove in Joe Mike's face.
Whoa! Hey, Dave
Oh,
Fax
that
were
is-
not
that's
exclusive
awesome.
to Joe Mike. Like it could, Dave Fax can roll. Someone else can pick up the torch. I think it's
See
whoever
that?
ends on
Start
the
doing Dave facts every
356th
day.
day.
Maybe you'll get a pulse. So,
Three-
but
365, buddy. Good luck.
65. Yeah, I shorted you by 9
he said
days.
pick up the torch. We don't have to pick up where you dropped off, you quitter.
No. That's not how this works.
Bro, you're about to come along up on some real amazing amount of free time with childcare. So
Yeah, so much free time.
a lot. You're going insane. So Dave Fax should just waterfall out of your mouth, man.
That's right. So, but anyway, yeah, we can be found at Fun King 3D pretty much everywhere. The main place is YouTube and the Twitters. We do have a Facebook page, though I hate it. We are about to have merch available from one of two places, or maybe two of two places. I haven't decided yet, but so yeah, watch for that. Other than that, Xander Sing Thursday every Thursday, and Mailbag Monday on Mondays when you guys send us stuff. So other than that, that's it, I guess.
Alrighty, so thank you for that, guys, and thanks for coming in. Joe Mike, want to go ahead?
Sure. By the way, if you figure out how to replace the voice, I want to do that and put Majel Roddenberry's voice on mine, so it actually is the computer from Star Trek. No, bad computer.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Gosh, these things are sensitive.
Well, I have reached out to Amazon to get permission to do it, just because of I didn't want to get in trouble for any reason. I don't think I would, but they said as long as I don't sell it, they don't care. So if I figure out how to, I've already made it into the source code to find out where the actual audio files are and everything, and I can replace them. Like on occasion, I changed a couple of the words just to my voice to see if it would work, and it does. So yeah, we'll definitely do that for you.
Exciting times. Okay, Joe Mike Taranella, that's my channel. Mojike on Twitter. J Taranella on Instagram. I have a Facebook page. I don't use it. Yeah, I've got more videos coming out because I've actually got my studio up and running. Next video to come out will be on the light system that I just showed you. I've got a comprehensive video coming out, which is kind of funny because Joel just released his video on brackets for his filament, and I was like, I just shot video for my brackets for my video, so oh well, that's why I'm rocking the Joel hair now. I mean, if I'm gonna follow him into the void, I might as well look a little bit like him. Other than that, I have approximately 1 month to get as much done as I possibly can before things get turned upside down completely and everything changes and I have to figure everything out all over again. So, but I can't think of any better reason for that to happen. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Help, I'm in a nutshell.
Nice. All right, Marteinn.
Yeah, I'm Marteinn, and my channel is 3DP Iceland. I do landscape models like this one. I print out 3D landscapes and paint them. And that's one of the main things I do on my channel. I also do filament reviews and printer projects around my printers. If I have something to do with the printers or something around the house, I tend to use that opportunity to create content for YouTube. So I'm basically documenting what I'm doing with 3D printing on my channel. And it's 3DP Iceland on Twitter and YouTube. And in the YouTube videos, you can see in my video description a link to a merch store. So you can buy t-shirts and things like that. And that's where you can find me on Twitter and YouTube, 3DP Iceland.
All right, thanks, Marteinn. Thanks for coming in. Richard?
There we go. Got the mic working. Name's Richard. The channel is Zidim, Zulu, India, Delta, India, Mike. And my postings have been really haphazard for the last while. And right now I'm in Calgary at my mother's place helping her move. We'll be back. I have several projects on the go. And I have several new resins sitting on my desk back at the house. So I want to get back into that. The main place on Facebook is actually 3D printing for model trains. And it's expanding rapidly. I think we've gone over 700 members there so far, as people are starting to use their printers, whether they're FDM or SLA, for the model train areas. So that's the main place to pick me up. Once again, the channel is Zidim, and if you go to zidim.com, you can see all the stuff I'm involved with.
All right, thank you, Richard. And thanks for stopping in. John?
All right, I'm John. When you do it, you can find me on Twitter, u_do_it. It's the letter U. You find me on Instagram, u.do.it, and you can see my channel name here on YouTube. I do a lot of stuff. I'll give you a quick rundown of some of the stuff that I do. So this is a decor plate I created. I designed that in Fusion 360 for some banana plugs. I created a battery cover for rigid battery pack. It doubles as a hanger, so I have the little screw hole there, so I can put a drywall screw in it and hang it on the wall and slide the battery pack into that. That took several live streams to get it right. When I was at Earth, I had like 13 different pieces, and it was all the different iterations that I went through for the design of this part. Because each time I tweak something. I guess that's the power of 3D printing. You can become a little lazy when it comes to design. Get your measurements so-so, try it out, and adjust. I created my own crosstails, also known as barrel nuts, and a jig. So this is the jig for drilling. I use that to hold together a table. This is also for a table for a charger that was installed in the table. And this is for some edge banding that I created. Instead of going out and buying it, I designed in Fusion 360 and printed the edge banding. And it was all for this table that I created here. That's you can see some of the pieces of edge banding to be a futuristic looking table that's used on the set here. This is the set of a film production company, and they actually use it actively now for filming a series that they're doing for a futuristic kids show. So it's exciting stuff that I'm involved in. I love 3D printing. I love coming up with designs on my own and being inspired by others. And like I like to say, I derive inspiration from others to create my own things. So it keeps me moving forward and learning new stuff every day. So thanks for letting me be part of this community and accepting me. I say that frequently. You probably get tired of hearing it, but it really means a lot to me. That's all.
All right, John, thank you. And thanks for stopping in tonight. All right, so just to start off, everybody, you're on my channel. I am Geek Tech. Technically, I should say we are Geek Tech. My co-host is Zack or Dry Bones. He's been in the chat. He wasn't able to join me tonight because he just had to go through oral surgery. So he'll be quiet for a while, I think. But if you could wish him that he heals quickly, would be nice. Just a real quick, wanted to thank Dave from Matter Hackers for helping out with the sponsorship for the community build for Earth.
Yeah, no problem, man. Happy to help.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate all the help he gave us. But yeah, we're easy to find. It's Geek Tech everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. There is no Instagram because I haven't gotten around to it and I haven't seen any interest. But it is Geek Tech all the same. Not for any simple reason, just that I'm lazy. And I know that joke's probably getting old. Either way, we've had fun tonight. The channel that we do does do 3D printing. We do video games, anything geeky. We're involved with it. We're leaning more towards doing more maker stuff on the channel because it's something we both want to get into. I was corrected by Bones earlier today that we don't have 2 printers, we have 3. He just recently, in the last couple of days, got a CR10. I want to say it's a Max, but I'm not 100% on that. We'll have videos up on that build that he did and it actually printing going up on the channel soon. We also have the Hypercube build from Ziltech and the Prusa clone. But all in all, we do all kinds of things. We're working on some table stuff. I don't have any pictures, but the videos will be up soon. Do me a favor, and if you get a chance, hit that like button for me. It really helps out the channel, and I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for hosting tonight. For me, I go down to Wildwood, which, if you don't know where Wildwood is, it's a shore town in Jersey. And I happen to be home this weekend, but for the rest of the summer, I'll be down in Wildwood. So my chance of participation are low because Wildwood is crazy on the weekend.
Well, that's fair. I mean, I typically don't work late on Fridays and don't have a problem hosting, but I like to give everybody else a chance to host as well. So, I mean, share the love, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm glad everybody can stop by. Matt, I believe, is in the chat, but is camping with his printer. I think he took his family too.
Did he really take his printer?
Yeah, he always takes his printer.
He does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Two printers running in the back of his truck. So.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's called dedication.
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, he says he uses it with the camper and stuff like that to fix things on the camper or whatnot. But yeah, he's out camping, and I had to give him crap because I knew he took his printer.
I'm going to run off. Mom flies out tomorrow, so I better.
All right. Thanks for joining, Richard.
Yeah, nice to see you.
See y'all.
Bye.
See you later, Richard.
Yeah, I got to peace out too, guys. But seriously, thanks for having me. I'll try to join more as much as I can. We released Matter Control 2.0. It's very potentially broken still, but if everybody goes and tries it out, reports bugs, that'd be super fun. We're just trying to make it a little bit better every day. It's got like design tools in it now, so you can actually design some stuff. We fixed a bunch of bugs in the slicing engine. It's 64-bit and all that stuff, but we're trying to get as many people using it. So this is probably a good crew to do that.
Yeah, I'll definitely use it. I've been using Matter Control 1, since I guess we'll refer to it as that now, to do the fine tuning with the Hypercube build that I've been working on. So
Yeah, I mean, especially like a machine like that, if it's got like a TV bed or something like that, you can do all the software bed leveling right in the machine. It remembers to offset that G code. Essentially, software version of bed leveling.
Yeah, it's a handy program. So I'll give Matter Control 2 a go and see if I can break it.
Yeah, when you get into design tools, so there's design tools, which is just primitives, and then we have design apps that we're trying to develop right now that we have to develop them ourselves, but it'd be like base designs that you can customize. So think like a business card holder that you can throw your name on, or like a light switch cover where you can throw your logo and your daughter's name and like a basketball or something on that. It's all kind of based on customizability and stuff. But we're getting there slowly but surely.
You need to put it on a tablet application like Android or Apple or something.
Yeah, there's an APK. So we sell Matter Control Touch, which is like the product we sell. We're still for the last 3 years been toying with the idea of selling the APK, but I'm just not sure. Like you need, if you're gonna have a computer plugged in and you need power plugged in, like almost none of the tablets are ready for that. So
no, yeah, they're really not ready for that yet.
For that reason, we had to make our own hardware too. But yeah, we might release the APK just for free. Who knows?
For a second, I thought you were going to pull a Shark Tank and go, and for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, it would have been styling. I'm not that styling. You know me. Cool, guys. Well, go check it out. Tweet at me if you got any bugs to report or anything to share. That'd be awesome.
Matt Astrofast, if he does orders through Matter Hackers, if he can pick it up at the East HQ headquarters.
If it's there, yes. If like in 4 months, absolutely, we'll have everything there. But right now, we literally have like 3 or 4 printers and the carbide mills. But yeah, we'll get there for sure. It'll have a show. We'll do meetups. We'll be East Coast local.
Hey, Dave, just real quick, I want to, I know that I've told you this in person before, but I want to say it in front of the community too. A huge thank you to you and all of you guys over at Matter Hackers for everything you guys do for the community. You guys are absolutely awesome.
Yeah, man. We just try to help as much and as capable as we can. So, you know, I started to lead the marketing group like 4 years ago, more directly. But now we got a whole team running everything. So you've probably spoken to Rhonda. Chris runs our social media. Dylan's our creative lead and doing all. We got 2 full-time video people. So all those videos, it's a ton of hard work to do everything. But we support the community so much. Just, you know, you guys are creating all the content that are enabling our community of makers to grow like crazy. You know, Matter Hackers, we can do a bunch of like, you know, more corporate stuff, but it's the feet on the ground. It's you guys that are spreading the word in a more like intimate way. It's really cool. It's why we try to sponsor as many of the big guys as we do the little guys. You know, Joel's one of our very best friends, awesome dude. We've hung out with Tom a bunch of times, all those guys. But you know, you guys are just as important. It's irregardless of how many subs you got. You're spreading the good word. You're spreading the good word.
Well, it's much appreciated, brother.
Yeah, I might reach out to you one day about a project.
We're all ears. We're all ears.
Yeah, I'll send you a tweet.
Sounds good, man. Yeah. All right, guys. I got to peace out. We'll see you.
All right. See you.
All right, have a good night.
Have a good night.
Hitting that thing. Hit that thing.
Yeah, it's a habit.
Yeah, Walter is joining.
Do you see Walter's joining in?
In the chat.
Oh, there he is.
Jump in, Walter. Jump in.
He has his family is getting ready to leave early in the morning, so he may or may not jump in or not. Oh,
yeah, he just likes to make excuses.
You got a pooch later.
Yeah.
Nope, there goes the neighborhood. Pooch is here.
All right, I'm leaving. See you guys.
What's going on, Pooch?
How's it going, guys? Man, I would have been here sooner, but kids were really fighting going to bed tonight.
Yeah, you're supposed to get on before the kids go to bed so that Xander can talk to Biggs.
You know, I would, except for the twins would be just tearing around here, destroying the place. And, you know. Got to pick my battles, you know. But I'm here now. I know, just in time for everybody to leave. But
yeah, you have to do your intro and outro at the same time.
Intro and outro. Nah, I thought if I jumped on late enough, I could avoid all that.
Yeah, I have a video coming out after a few hours on your filament that you gave me at Earth.
Ooh, is it any good?
Yeah.
The video? Is the video any good?
The video is really good, but the filament is crap. No, no. It was giving me good experience, so it's all good.
Oh man. All right, I'll do a quick intro. So Pooch, for those of you who don't know me, aka Repcord, I'm Repcord on everything. I like to think I advocate. I sell a little bit of stuff. I like to do some product design. What makes me want to design is I love problem solving, and so I really dig just going after a problem and then failing and figuring it out, and then how good it feels when you finally come to the right solution. If you ever really truly come to the right solution, because a lot of what I like to build, I'm just continually trying to iterate on. But yeah, man, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm bummed that I haven't been on in weeks and weeks and weeks. It just hasn't been working. I've been traveling a ton and seen a bunch of you guys on location at a couple different shows and stuff, and just living it up, loving it.
Excuses.
Tell us about Repbox.
Oh my gosh, I'm so you know what? I'm not gonna steal much thunder because Trav and I are gonna go over it pretty in depth on the next catch up. But when we went to Earth with that thing, and just the outpouring of support we got around it, and the number of just constructive criticism, and all the amazing stuff. I mean, I've shown it to a ton of people. Joe Mike was one of the first to take a look at it, gave us a lot of good ideas. Obviously, the people that I saw at Earth and stuff, and the biggest thing is that everybody wants. I don't want to say they want a dry box, but the idea is like, well, look, if I'm going to put this thing in a container, I want it to be as sealed up as possible. And out here, that's not as big of a consideration because I leave a lot of my stuff out almost year round, and it's fine. But you start getting in with the Floridians and stuff, and it's more of an issue and stuff. So we took a lot of that to heart, and man, we came back and we've been hitting it hard. And this week we locked the production, the V1. I mean, we kind of went to Earth with like a release candidate, and so this week we kind of got a lock in, and we did some pretty good overhauls of the hinge system. So where the hinges was where a lot of the air was coming in. We replaced the hinge configuration with a vinyl reinforced marine grade vinyl living hinge, so that basically there's no opening in any of those gaps now. And then we've developed like a sealing kit so that if you're really, really concerned with it, it's got EDPM seals around where the lid is. There's a lock kit now, which a lot of people were all about. A lot of the maker spaces and the libraries and stuff that were hitting us up for these were really keen on making sure they could kind of secure some stuff. So that was kind of low hanging fruit. Travis isn't on right now because I got him working right now on finalizing some 3D printed parts for it. No, he's doing it of his own volition, and he's awesome. But we've been on it nonstop, and it's been fun because I've never actually done like a full blown developed product before. And man, I've got a lot of respect for people. I mean, we're just making a box here. I can't imagine what it takes to produce an actual printer. The amount of time and consideration it takes to develop these things is insane, even for something as simple as a spool holder, it seems. So more on that soon, though.
I want to be able to customize mine with the LEDs.
What's that, John?
I want to be able to customize mine with LEDs.
We've done a lot of talk about a lighting kit, so maybe we got to collaborate on something there because there's a lot of opportunity, especially with how many people want that all acrylic version. It'll look pretty sweet.
It's all about indirect lighting. You don't want to actually see the LEDs themselves.
Tony's saying we got to get that patent filed before XYZ is coming out with their filling storage system. Yeah, I'm not getting involved in that show, Tony.
Yeah, what was up with that?
Yeah.
That was some publicity stunt by some Chinese company or what?
Sounds like everybody's winding down.
Yeah. So, we were talking earlier about what motivates us to create things and 3D print them.
I caught a few of them here and there as I was listening in.
Yeah, it's like the whole ability to make it's like CNC, but it's not. I think I can make things more easily with 3D printing than I can with CNC. Just based on my experience with CNC.
It's a lot less messy, right?
Yeah. Right.
I personally can definitely 3D print stuff easier than CNC because I don't have a CNC machine yet.
In the jigging and stuff. How much CNC work have you done, John?
I've made signs. I've made some practical pieces. So I probably made about 60 different pieces on a CNC that I built.
You started with that before 3D printing or same time or?
No, I built that CNC 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that?
Right tool for the right job, right? There's definitely stuff.
Yeah. Well, I used the CNC for making the logo on that coffee table I did because it was just practical. But then using the CNC for anything else, it really didn't make sense. I used my table saw for cutting a lot of the wood and everything. So yeah, I use, that's what I like saying. I use the appropriate technology when necessary.
That reminds me of when we were at IRF. Is Dave still in the chat from Printed Solid? He was cluing us in on this interesting material that I've been kind of reading up on called alu poly, or it's called a couple different things, but it's basically the stuff like Ultimaker uses for its panels. It's the I think it's ABS sandwiched with aluminum.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Foldertech's been using something a lot similar to that lately.
Yeah. Anyway, apparently that stuff has to be CNC'd because you can't laser cut basically like plastic with metal sandwiched in, or it doesn't. It's not something you can do with a CO2 or a fiber or well, or I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, it was interesting because he was telling me it opens up some interesting possibilities though when you're able to CNC because you can plunge cut with it, which means you don't have to. When we're so used to laser cutting stuff, you're cutting all the way through a piece of material, and something like a dry box or something where you want to keep seals. Every hole you put in the thing, the worse you are. So it's talking about how you can actually do some partial plunge cuts for your kind of jigsaw piecing together and still maintain some some better air tightness with the whole thing. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, at first I was gonna complain about the filament I got from you guys just to be a pain because I ended up with 2 rolls of the green in the box I got.
What?
Yeah, there was 2. There were 2 rolls of the green and then one roll of red, but I've already blown through one of the rolls and now I'm complaining that the rolls aren't bigger because I love this green. I've been looking for a good green, and I know that's not like a massive color that everybody's really like, oh, I need a good green. But
you must have gotten the old Christmas pack leftovers. No, I don't know who's doing QC over at that Repcord place, but man, they should have. No, it's funny because we ended up with a hodgepodge of stuff that he'd brought out there, and I suspect we just threw stuff into a box. But given that the price was right, I guess you can't complain too much, right?
Yeah, no, I can't complain at all. I mean, it's decent filament, and I really do like the color, and I mean. I've got my maker coin that I've got to print out for the table project I'm doing, and it's going to be printed out of this. So
cool.
Yeah, just have to show you guys this. I was printing out with polyalchemy gold filament.
Man, look at the sheen on that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
it's awesome. The Otis model on the Omnum. It's part of the latest maker box, and I print out those objects for the maker box samples. They look crazy good.
Yeah, by the way, don't forget that if you're a MakerBox subscriber, that Polyalchemy's got that sample kit where you get, what is it, like 17 50-gram samples for, I forgot the price. Dave, and
Yeah.
Mr. Randolph. But yeah, so if you want to try all the Polyalchemy colors, which they have some flipping amazing colors, get on and get one of those sample packs.
Yeah, I already have like 8 different colors of them. I did a review of their filament the other day. I bought 8 different colors for the review.
Yeah, I was incredibly fortunate. I don't know what happened over at their marketing department, but someone from Polyalchemy reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to try the new colors?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to try the new colors." They ended up sending me 2 boxes filled, one full spool of every single one of their colors. So now I have a full spool of every single one of their colors, and I have no clue what I'm going to do with it. Anyone have any ideas? I don't want to do the pangolin because that's already been done, but I need some way to like showcase off all the colors, and I need thoughts, ideas for that.
Xander says you should print his rocket in every color.
Print Xander's rocket in every color. I'll think about that. I'm gonna think about that.
It has to be like a rainbow rocket.
A rainbow.
No, you want multiples, not one.
No,
And
I would like to see a rainbow rocket.
Oh, you want to say like a palette splice, right? Like the way 3D Phil was done, right? Kind of rainbow?
like one rocket with all the colors. Oh, I was
Pretty
thinking
cool.
like, because there's what, like 12 or 14 colors. You could, like have.
That too, but I would like to see
Awesome.
a rainbow rocket.
Yeah,
Well,
It's a lot of pause and reprint, but you could do it.
Yeah, I can do the pause and reprint. I don't have a palette. Are the palette guys in the chat?
Yeah, I wish, because I'd really like to have one of those.
Hey, palette.
See,
Wait, who's this weird guy that just showed up in the chat there?
I saw that guy at Earth. I think his name's I forgot.
Oh, awesome,
Matt. Matt.
No,
Matt.
is that Matt?
Oh, Dave hopped on. Now we've got the other Dave.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Oh, Matt's here too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Matt too.
You sound like you're in a tent.
Hang on.
That's intense.
I think it's in the back of a truck. That's where he hangs out with his printers usually.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sexy. Yeah.
All right. That's what happens when you use knockoff AirPods.
Oh. Go legit. Go legit.
Yeah, legit's too expensive when it doesn't work with Android.
Yeah.
JMT, what are you
true.
running there?
What?
What are you running right now?
Well, that is Vertigo Gray on Gecko Tech. I am finishing. Hold on, let me. Computer, prepare to work.
Dang it, he keeps triggering my Alexa. I gotta go to. I'm gonna turn her off.
So this guy here, I don't know how many of you actually watched The Expanse on Sci-Fi. It's like one of my favorite shows. It's because it's some of my favorite novels, but the show's really good. So I printed this. This is the Donager. It's a Martian warship, and it's missing the booster rockets on the back. But this is Vertigo Gray, all of it, and it looks amazing. So right now I'm printing out the rest of it because I actually ran out of Vertigo Gray while I was printing the boosters last time. I thought I had just enough to get away with printing the boosters, but nope. So I had to get another roll of Vert, and I'm going to finish this bad boy up, and it goes back on my shelf to collect dust. Or I'll just play with it.
Yeah, I was going to show you. This is the prints I did with my old colors of Polyalchemy.
You got the Emerald City there? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, this is Emerald City, and this is Gold Rush.
Yeah.
Are those
all the colors?
Are those Dizengoff's models? What are those models?
I think they're called Vernoi Cat.
They are.
Yeah.
Where's my cat?
Yeah,
Veronai. I heard what you said now. Yeah.
They've been doing that with a lot of models. They'll take a model and they'll hollow it out, and then they'll put it in the holes, and becomes kind of like almost a torture test for your printer.
Yeah, I've done this in Mesh Mixer to some models to try it out, and it's easy to do in Mesh Mixer.
Martin, do you have a Stream Deck?
Yeah, I just got one.
Lucky.
I love my Stream Deck.
Yeah,
I like mine too.
Yeah,
dude, take the cheap way out and build your own with an Android device.
Yeah, I want to see that, Glenn.
Yeah, I couldn't find it on Amazon. And
I have a Stream Deck too, but it's a 10-inch Stream Deck, so nanny and neener.
Wait, what's that you're using?
Where's the tactile feedback though?
Does the Stream Deck have? Oh yeah, I guess because it's got the physical button. But yeah, no, this is an app called I can't remember. Rocat.
Just.
Oh, come on.
You were just giving me heck for it this morning. I hear you talk about it on your stream that I never watched, or your channel I never watched.
Yeah, well, I DM'd it to you on Twitter, but it's Power Grid. It's Rocat Power Grid, and then you download different grids, and I downloaded the Stream Deck grid, and then it gives me all these buttons. So, and it cost me $0. How much did your Stream Deck cost?
Yeah, I actually got Amazon gift cards, so I used it to buy it.
I built the hot box first, and I still love my hot box, but I wanted to build a second one.
Sorry that
you didn't take it there, Joe Mike.
No. That phrase has a completely different.
You should have heard him earlier, Joe Mike.
Completely different in Kansas.
On the earlier stream, he said he'd handled his share of V-slot, and that was driving me crazy.
What? Said what?
I'd seen more than my share of V-slot, I think is what you said.
Oh, no.
Wah, wah, wah. All right, it's getting set with the late night.
That's
I think I said I've worked with my fair share of V-slot.
That's it.
Yeah, and that's true, and however you want to take that.
Yeah.
It's too bright in
The
here.
filter
Computer,
can shut off at
prepare the cave.
Yeah,
just changing, Joe Mike.
What?
Showing off. You keep turn the lights on, turn the lights off. We get it. You can control your cave.
It's just the easiest way to turn all my lights off. I'm sorry. I'll mute the mic next time. I'm jealous.
I think the point is he has no control over his cave. It's always doing something that it doesn't want to.
That's a good point.
Sometimes.
We're going to jump in here on you guys real fast. We had 3 different people join. We had David from Printed Solid, Walter from Country 3D, and Matt from How I Do It. If you guys want to go on ahead and do your intro and outro or whichever, or say hi to everybody. David, if you want to go first.
Hey, it's David. I'm over at Printed Solid, and find us, Printed Solid on Twitter and Facebook, and y'all know where we are. But good seeing you. Goodbye. No, we're trying to put them all both together. But I have to show this because I'm kind of proud of this. In our complex, I have a machinist friend that is literally in the door next to our warehouse, and he runs a fairly large machine shop, and he machined this for us. So we have the V6 groove for the new Mosquito, and worked with him on that, and actually got the proper bolt pattern on the bottom of it, so that even with the screws that come with the Mosquito, you just bolt it straight on, and now you got a hard V groove mount on the top of the Mosquito. So that's going to be pretty kick-ass.
Oh, my Mosquito is going to be here in a couple of days. I'm going to need one of those.
And here's the funny thing about it. Because of it actually has the Bowden little tube on the top of it. So what I did today is I literally dropped off a big box of them to him. And these are the same couplers from E3D. I literally just bought a huge container of E3D Bowden couplers, and he's machining the mount to it. So it's going to be kind of nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that is very nice. So, real quick before we move on, what motivates you to design things that you want to print?
In all honesty, what motivates me to design things is I'm trying to look for a solution to something. The two biggest problems I'm always facing is my droid building, which I enjoy, so I'm always trying to solve those problems. And then my other one is just 3D printers. I'm one of the weird people that is exclusively that got into this hobby, and I probably spent the first 6 years of this hobby not caring about what I actually print, but making the printer itself. So there's not a single printer that I own that I haven't modded, and that's what motivates me. Is I really like the idea of making something better, and 3D printing is perfect for doing that.
Ditto.
Awesome, thank you, Walter.
Yeah, I'm Walter from Country 3D. Find me on Twitter, Facebook, the web, YouTube. It's all at Country 3D. And I just signed up for Instagram. I think I've posted one thing to Instagram on Country 3D. So, but it's Country 3D across the board. And to answer that next question, let me go ahead and do that. And it's pretty much the same thing as Dave's. It's necessity. When you run across something, you need something, you make it. You don't have to just go out and find it. And we were talking about it today when Glenn and Chris and I streamed, that even if you don't design it yourself, you go out and you make it. Somebody else has already had that problem or something. You know, you may have to tweak it or something like that. And I also like to build printers. Like Dave said, I like to print printers. So that's what I do. All right. So then, Pooch. Oh,
Awesome. Matt, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey guys, hopefully everything comes across.
You're a robot.
I'm kind of
Hey,
sketched on the internet right now. It's coming in and out.
I'm so.
But anyhow,
if you turn off video, it'll be better.
Yeah, if you guys don't understand what Matt's saying, he's saying Dork.
If you turn off your video and just go with the audio, I think it'll work better because there's too little bandwidth for you.
Ooh, that's a good question. David, did you see that question from Robert?
Well, the problem is whether it needs it or not, I still mod it.
Heck yeah, you do.
Do a little bit of everything, and
I mean, the only printer that I probably modded the least so far has been and that's only because I've had it for like 2 months.
Right now, the only people who are able to enjoy the stream are people with severe ADD.
Which is me.
Yeah, it was like a auto-tune gone wrong.
I love it. And I'm looking at Pooch trying to contain himself.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Well, and then the great part is like everything kept going. Like his audio was breaking up, and we just moved the conversation and kept going.
In between him talking, yeah.
His blinks are so slow. Like, watch his little thumbnail. It's like, bloop.
Yeah, I think that's why he kept going, is because he had said something and it was like slow mode all the way to us.
Can you hear me now?
Hey,
it's
about that.
Hey, did you switch to Verizon?
Jumped on the Wi-Fi and at least let me on finally. So is audio coming across good?
Yeah,
Video might be
you're
jumpy,
fine
but
now.
Speak while you can.
All right, so real quick, I'm Matt from How I Do It. Do a little bit of everything, and every other week make sure that the Friday night hangouts are somebody's hosting and that we have a topic and get the word out and do all the organizing for it essentially. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So did that come across or did that come across robotic?
No, you're fine.
You were perfect.
Are you in your truck, Matt?
Y'all
I
just
am. I'm
missed
sitting.
the best opportunity to screw with them. And you were all like, yeah, it sounds great. I was going to go, no, it broke up. Say it all again.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my Explorer right now. Everybody's in the camper sleeping. It's my wife, my mother-in-law, both of my kids, and our niece and nephew are all camping in the same camper. So I don't want to wake up the little kids.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. All right. So since we're kind of dragging this out a little bit, is anybody designing anything new now that you want to share with the community?
Glenn?
I think Glenn's designing something.
Man,
you already missed it, Walter. I took up a big chunk of time right in the middle of this whole stream to show off what I was doing. So
yeah, we streamed with you earlier. We saw how you can take up a big chunk. You're still working on a Tronxy X1?
yeah, well, I stopped when that stream ended. I stopped and went downstairs and played some cards with my wife, and then started it again when we came back up. But it's at the point where it just needs all the electronics.
Wait, Pooch is away from his computer. Purchase a CR10
From Printed Solid.
Yeah, shop for CR10.
I don't understand. You want to shop CR10?
Oh. Abort. Abort. What's up, Pooch?
What's up, guys?
Nothing. What you got?
Guess what I got in here?
Is it a CR10?
A CR10?
I think it's
that next week.
A super delivery.
I think it's either lead or peanut butter, based on this logo here. No, I've been like traveling like, I don't know, like 10 out of the last 16 days or something like that. And I got this thing shipped to me like while I was at IRF. This is the printer belt, for those of you who haven't been following along on the tweets. I was curious, has anybody seen anybody do an unboxing or a build on the new version of it yet?
No.
Is that of interest? Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking I might do an unboxing later tonight, and then I'm really chomping at the bit to actually get this thing up and going because we're hoping to use it to crank out a couple production parts for the rep box. So,
Are you gonna record it or live stream it?
I think I'm gonna. Well, I don't know. I'm feeling a bit chipper, so I think maybe after I jump off this, I'll do a stream of just an unboxing, and then I'm gonna try to record the build as I go. I'm
It's
gonna see
only
how.
9:45 where you are.
Yeah, it's early still. Still early.
Yeah. Don't stream the whole build tonight, man. I have to sleep.
I'm not gonna build anything. I'm literally just gonna start pulling through it and see what's in here and stuff. Because according to Bill Steele, it's when he got his, it was still pretty incomplete. So and Brooke makes no reservations about it. It's like going to be an advanced thing. He gives you kind of the core of what you need, but it's kind of I'm expecting it to be an interesting little hodgepodge. But anyway, this is one of the priorities for me and what I'm interested in working on next now that I'm back in town.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see at least how it comes in the box. Because that was one of those printers that has been on my looking at, really want to, because I've been doing a lot of production prints for the 3DKC stuff.
Yep.
Of Scott's case. I think Scott's still in the chat. Let me see. When was the last time it's Scott? Scott, are you still in the chat? Scott.
Tony wants to stream it tonight, see if I can get it done before Glenn finishes Tronxy.
Are you talking about Hack Monkey, Scott?
Yeah. I'm trying to. I saw him earlier talking. He might have gone. But yeah, he lives here in
it's been a
KC.
little while.
And
Hack Monkey's still in the chat, but I'm not sure if he's active.
okay. There he is. Yeah, so like he designed the first iteration of the MK3 case with the door on it, so you can get to the Raspberry Pi.
Yep.
And so that's the one I've been using with 3DKC, and I have to print out like I have to print them out all the time. So a printer belt would be awesome for that.
What's the size on that? That's not too big. That should fit on the belt.
Oh, quit being, small and go with a black belt.
Yeah, I don't know that kind of coin, dude. This from the guys that was complaining earlier about having to like buy extra, M3 bolts and stuff.
Right?
No, it's not that I was complaining. I shouldn't have to buy them when I get a printer kit. This thing's a pile of garbage.
Not from Creality Electronics. You should expect to have a box of bolts and extrusion and wires.
No, this is Tronksy.
Ah.
Yeah.
Good question. Who here has the best arrangement and assortment of binning for their bolt collection and stuff? Or does anyone...
Oh man, I've got bins galore. Every single bolt I have is organized.
Is it really?
It is.
You're a bit OCD, aren't you?
Probably not, but I like my bolts in their place, man.
That seems so tedious, man. How do you do that without having kids to like pay to do that?
You gotta keep your nuts well organized.
I've always had a hard time with that.
Nuts and shafts, man. You gotta keep them in their place.
I just got the new tool chest just for hardware, just for my house. This is not the work one. This is just for my own personal stuff.
Nice there.
I invested in Stackimo years ago, and now I can't find the boxes anymore. But I keep all my stuff well organized.
I just put my giant logo on my screen now. This OBS stuff's cool.
You've never done OBS? What have you been using?
No, I do OBS. I've just never used the virtual cam inside of Hangouts. So now I'm
virtual cam rocks, man.
Very long.
So yeah, I'm playing with it and getting it set up so you can all see my crap and make sure that it's me.
Yeah, it's a cool plugin. I started to use it.
That's my curse. I've been building the studio at the office. So if you guys did the stream at a reasonable hour when I'm at the shop, I'd be using that. But this is just my home setup. So I don't even have OBS set here, but gotta love that stuff. If you didn't know, my former life was a broadcast engineer, so all I did was build television studios. And OBS is making it pretty hard to justify the cost of those traditional studios.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty sweet rigs. Have you seen any of that new, like the NDI stuff? And a lot of people. I mean, you can get some pretty kick-ass, decks and stuff. What is it? The X keys decks with like the zoom controls and all sorts of crazy stuff now.
NDI is amazing. If you know, NewTek was one of the first people to actually adopt that.
Isn't it their standard? Are they open source? They're the ones that open sourced it or something like that?
Yep, that's what happened with them.
Yeah.
Fun note for you, if you go back to NewTek and you go to their version 9 beta manual, I'm credited in there for the original technical writing on that. That's how far back I go.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to switch back to OBS. I've been using XSplit for about 2 years now, and it's just constantly gotten worse. It was really good when I first got into it, but now the changes are not set to par anymore.
Yeah, I've been reading up on it quite a bit lately because we're trying to up our game for the catch-up a little bit, starting with the audio. But man, it just seems like there's just no shortage of just amazing tools and stuff available for you, and not very expensive at all too. Like, for as much as people seem to complain about, OBS crashes here and there, I mean, you get a lot of stuff for free there.
OBS has been very reliable for me. There was a couple settings I had to do, and I used EPOS Vox's. I'll put a link in GeekTex. chat here. I used his settings because he like invests a ton of time in trying to find the right settings for when you're streaming and recording at the same time. And on my, I have a 1950X rig with a 1080 Ti and 32 gigabytes of RAM with a 970 Evo M.2. So I got a screaming machine here, and I was lagging with recording while streaming. I watched this video, made the changes, perfect now.
I need those settings because I've got a.
Yeah, I'll share it now.
I just purchased a Logitech Brio 4K webcam to use as my side cam during regular recordings, and OBS is freezing on me when I'm doing recording, so I'll probably need to dial that in. Like I'll get into maybe 5 minutes worth of video, and I've got the same setup. I mean, I've got a Ryzen 7 machine with an Evo that's actually the PCI M.2 form factor for the media drive, 32 gigs of RAM, a 1050 Ti.
Yeah, but how many PMs are you running? Are you saturating the USB bus, or what? Like, what?
Oh, I'm completely saturated. I can't run the camera at 4K. I don't have enough USB resources.
Doesn't matter what your computer's got on it if your bottleneck is the USB.
Yeah, but I don't record it at 4K. I actually record it slightly below and just scale it out. But at the same time, it records for about 5 minutes and then so. They need to figure out that USB crap, because I've got a plethora of USB 3.0 ports, but the way that the architecture is structured, the USB 3 and the USB 2 are still sharing resources, and so it's ridiculous. I have a media card reader that's plugged into one of the header pins on my motherboard. If I unplug that, I've got enough resources, but
so this is exactly why I've been looking into NDI and stuff, because everything you're reading these days is it's the USB bus is just getting saturated with people doing multiple cameras, and all their mics and stuff are through it. So going to a it's not cheap, but I mean you can get an NDI camera. I think just the regular box zoom cam. What are we talking about? Like $500-600 for one of those PTZ optics. All the way up to thousands and thousands, but to me that seems really compelling, and it seems a little bit more future proof too. So I'm thinking hard about that investment, but really it's less about, oh, look who showed up. It's less about the camera right now. I think it's more about getting some better production value around the audio and some other stuff. But it's fun, it's interesting. And
wait, does he get breaks?
I think he's on a break now, apparently.
Back to work. Back to work.
Yeah, back to work, bro.
No, not going back to work.
Yeah, I want to ask: is Travis an employee of Record or just your slave?
We are collaborators, but we have no formal agreement. Which is
he was sweating out at Earth.
He's got the shirt. He's got the shirt. So he's like halfway there.
Halfway.
Well, hey guys, listen, thanks for letting me join the stream. I'm going to get out of here. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Got to be up early for coffee. So,
yeah.
Hi, Walter.
Have fun.
Hey, Walt.
Y'all
I
have
think
a
we're
good
gonna duck out too. We have some filming to do in the morning. So, hi Ari. But yeah, I think it's time for us to duck out. But there's something really important that we need to tell you all, and I mean, you guys should have known this.
Ha ha ha.
Ah, Glenn, so funny.
Yeah.
Good night, all. Hey, y'all have a great night.
Have a good night, Walter.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love how it's almost midnight here, and we're just now we're up to how many people in this thing now?
It's always the best to jump in at the end.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, you're looking pretty fly there with that hat. You're on fleek, as the kids are saying these days, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just me and Ari.
Fleek a little old now?
It probably is. I have no idea.
On fleek. I still don't understand that one.
No, yeah. We can have Ari explain it if you want, Joe Mike.
What is
I don't think she
fleek?
knows what it is.
I need an Urban Dictionary this real quick.
Hey, while you're doing that, David, I wanted to hear you finish. You were starting to comment on are there any printers that you haven't modded, and you started to say there aren't. Is that right?
Yeah, there's really not. I mean, every printer's got a mod for it. I mean, if you look around my room, my printers are either half in the middle of a mod or they've just been so modded. It's kind of crazy. I mean, come on, you have a 3D printer. The first thing you're looking at while you're looking at it is how to make it better.
Or anything for that matter, not just a 3D printer. But I mean, you're never I guess you've got access to enough printers where it's not like if you need to print something in a pinch, it's not like everything's torn apart. You've got enough that something's up and functioning and you're good to go.
I arguably, and me and Matt talk about this, I arguably have more printers in my house than we do at the shop. And it's kind of funny because I try to keep, my personal stuff separate because, when I bring these printers home, they're beyond warranty by the time I'm done with them. But
you got that T-shirt that says "I void warranties," don't you?
Oh yeah. I mean, let's put it this way. I bought the Raise 3D printer, and before I even got it home, I already had the extruder off of it, replacing it. The MK3, I was modding that already. I have a second one just so a second MK3 I'm working on over here, just so that I have another machine that I can do my crazy stuff to. I've got a CR10 S5 sitting over here in pieces because I want to throw the Mosquito on that. I got an Ultimaker 3 Extended, which is probably one of my least modded printers, but it's still got a lot to it. And as you know, printed solid, every single one of my printers gets changed up to get an enclosure put on it, of course.
Yeah, I'm loving the MK3 enclosure. In fact, you can see it in the little box up where my printer is. Oh, yeah. All that white is you there, Dave.
I like seeing you switched over to Gecko Tech.
Well, yeah, I use a mix of Gecko Tech and then the PEI sheet and actually Build Tack now for various different materials. But yeah, Gecko Tech, freaking love it.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially for nylon, man. Oh, for Nylon X and for Tallman 910, I can print that stuff on Gecko Tech with a 50-degree bed, and it does not move.
Nice. I love me some 910.
Yeah.
So, have you run any of their cold stuff or only the hot?
Just the hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody. Does anybody even have anything that doesn't have a heated bed at this point? I guess I've got a.
That's the first mod.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, you don't have to heat up the bed. I mean, it's not like it's required. You can run a cold bed.
True.
So you've got the heated bed. You might as well use it, right?
The humor of Gecko Tech is that I bought a bunch of it when I was at Murph, and we've been evaluating it ever since then. So I've been running it on my printers at home and most of the ones at the shop, and it's actually really good. I'm really surprised by how good it is. And I'm a traditional PEI guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I second that. I've got a little build plate comparison that I've been working on for forever, and then I've teasing, and I still haven't released and stuff. But of all of
3 months now or something.
Yeah, it hasn't been 3 months. Give me a break.
I think we all have a project like that.
But anyway, well, the other thing is people keep being like, "Oh, can you evaluate this one?" And I'm like, I'm kind of addicted. I'm like, and it's kind of a silly thing because really, there's not that. Well, no, I'm not going to say that for sure. Like, there's definitely stuff that's just crap. But of kind of the big name stuff, they're all in the wheelhouse, and some of them do some material, like exotics, a little bit better than others and stuff. But I got to agree, like, the Gecko Tech is my go-to, and I've got that. It's been on my CR10 for months now, and it's one of my favorites.
The only thing that I had issues printing on the Gecko Tech, other than polypropylene, because the only thing I can get it to stick to is tape and packing tape, actually. But polycarb, I could not get to stick to the Gecko Tech, but it sticks to Build Tack like no one's business. So I do have a build
running
tech.
straight polycarb, or is
Huh?
it like a PCABT or something like that?
It's straight polycarb.
Ooh,
It was in this previous month's maker box. There was a polycarb sample in there, and I initially tried printing it on the Gecko Tech, thinking, yeah, Gecko should handle that, and it just like would not stick at all. So then I was on the packaging. It said prints on build tack. So I put the build tack sheet on, and sure enough, like glue. I mean, it was weird. My only real big complaint with Gecko Tech right now is the fact that the prints leave marks on the build surface very easily. So like nylon, especially, as soon as you take it off of the flex plate, you can see the outline and the bottom layer, the first layer, right on the surface. I still haven't figured out a way to smooth that out. I did find out that if you put your Gecko Tech sheet on the bed, heat it up to about 80 degrees C, and don't print and just let it sit there for a while at 80 degrees C, it does help with those marks.
That's the secret. Now, what I've been doing is I turn my my bed upside down before I do that.
Really?
And that helps.
Yeah, like, I guess that makes sense, because then you'd have something putting pressure against it to smooth it.
Well, also it's also direct heat instead of indirect. So it really does help.
Yeah, okay, I can see it. So it doesn't have to go through the flex plate.
Right. And that does help, but Gecko Tech is kind of it's like Build Tech. It's a disposable surface.
Yeah. Well, so is PEI after a certain amount of time.
Well, PEI you can recondition just by sanding it.
I think
Very true.
Yeah.
If you don't scrape it and cut it.
Have you ever tried actually sanding a build tack or a P? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not going to work, given that it's not a consistent material throughout, right? There's a very thin layer of the material.
It's the surface problem. Yeah, no. PEI is the only material you really should be sanding out there.
Yeah, and if you read the Gecko Tech wiki, they do say that you can clean it up a little bit with an alcohol water ratio, like a 70-30 ratio, I think they said, of isopro. So really quick, Pooch, on fleek, the best top definition for on fleek by Urban Dictionary, a word used by those intent on disseminating the English language and further depleting the ever dwindling repository of individuals capable of intellectual conversation. For anyone who uses the term on fleek, I've added links to the big words to help you out.
Perfect.
What's a big word? Give me a big word.
Oh, let me click the link. Big words, words that aren't in someone's limited vocabulary, so they accuse you of trying to sound intelligent when what they really mean is clearly you are more intelligent than I am, and I should pick up a dictionary. Good grief.
This is what I get for trying to be hip.
Yeah.
Intelligence gets called into question.
Just stop.
Yeah. Whatever.
Act your age. Good grief.
Never.
All right, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for joining, everyone. Good
night, John.
Later, man.
Night, Johnny boy.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah, talking about the mosquito, I'm getting a mosquito from my CR10, and it's going to be hand delivered to my home on Sunday.
Nice. I got bit by a mosquito.
It burned you, or are you talking about a real one?
A real one. I got bit by a mosquito when I woke up this morning. I killed the little booger, but yeah, weird to wake up and there's a mosquito sucking your blood.
You do.
That's random, but it made me think of it because it was itching.
Martin, I think that's one of the advantages of living in an awesome vacation place. You know, people are like, I want to go visit Martin, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say this, since you're going to do it on a CR10, even though my mount looks awesome, I had a customer come by yesterday, and he brought a new mount design for the mosquito specifically for the CR10 that he's been working on.
Yeah, okay.
And he should hopefully be posting it here, probably, he said, sometime this week.
Yeah,
well,
cool.
Slice Engineering also posted a link to a Thingiverse collection of various mounts.
This guy's, the version he showed me is going to be totally worth the wait. It's an amazing design.
If Dave says it, then it's true.
Well,
Yeah,
everyone knows that I'm like hypercritical and I have like 10,000 reasons why you shouldn't do something. This guy, I probably spent an hour and a half with him trying to come up with something that was wrong with his design. And it was designed to be printed fast. It used very little plastic. It was very structural. The cooling was spot on. And I mean, it was just really nice. And when it finally gets released, it's impressive.
Yeah, that's cool. I already also have to mount it's a
huge
ECAPL
sensor.
His design has that sensor on it, so you're good.
Yeah, okay, excellent. Because I was seeing Fusion 360 project to design a mount for the Mosquito and this head.
Does his design allow for a BL Touch mount?
Yes, it does. He actually that was one thing we talked about. As I gave him the specs so that he could actually do both TH3D probes and a BL Touch as an option.
Marteinn, do you have a CR10S or just the 10?
Yeah, CR10S.
You want a BL Touch? Because I've got like 10. I can't use them.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Paris kind of hands those things out like candy.
Yeah, she does.
I'm gonna upgrade the Hypercube to the BL Touch because the sensor that I got that came with the kit doesn't have the screw at the top of it to control the depth of the sensor.
That's not what that screw's for.
There is a screw that does that on one of them that I have.
On the BL Touch?
No, on the Z sensor, the actual sensor.
Oh, I was about to say, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the sensor, not the touch.
Yeah,
I'm going to upgrade to the touch.
The BL Touch does have a set screw in the top, but it is not meant to adjust the depth. Yeah. And a lot of people end up messing with that, and it really messes the sensor up.
Oh, sorry. Need to add confusion.
It's all good. That's just an FYI out there for anyone who's going to mess with the BL Touch. Don't screw with the Allen thing at the top unless you need to take the sensor apart.
So I gotta say, I'm bummed that I didn't get to spend any time over at Slice at Earth because obviously this Mosquito is the new hotness. I've just seen everybody lately just doing something with it. Obviously, it backs its claims up, huh? David, you're running it on what now?
This one's going to go on a CR10S.
Okay.
But I put it on a Lulz bot and I put it on a little Ender 3 just to do some testing. But I got their Magnum and their regular, and both of them live up to it.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Sorry. God, I can't stop that.
I went to the same place, man. It's okay.
So, it's a good hot end. I have a hard time with their price. That's going to be a hard price to convince people.
That was my next question.
Hopefully that'll come down though with more adoption. I mean, because right now they're still basically manufacturing these things like in limited quantity and by hand. Aren't their thermistors are still handmade?
That's right. So well, not only that, but all their machining is done here in Florida by like 3 different houses, and then they bring it together to assembly in QC. So they'd have to scale up to E3D level before we see a price drop. I
mean, that's they're small. They're a small op, right? I mean, I can completely understand why, and they're trying to bootstrap the whole thing themselves, as I've heard. So,
but it's innovation. So I mean, it's not just another E3D V6 clone out there. It's an innovative design that has a lot of promise. In fact, I'm running their 50-watt heater cartridge on this Project Red printer that Joe gave me at Murph, and that cartridge is dynamite. I mean, it's ridiculous how fast that thing heats up.
I mean, and now here's the thing: once you get past the cartridge and the thermistor, the actual engineering design of it. I mean, they were really brilliant on the extrusion they used for the main body.
Mm-hmm.
That's a standard profile. They just have to chop that down and call it a day. Their block is very optimized, and this is the only extruder out there that I would have. I don't think I would ever get a call on somebody complaining about bending their heat break on.
Yeah, that and the the stackability of them, that you can stack them in side by side and use a single fan to draw the heat. That's awesome. Second, their high flow version, their volcano version, doesn't add any additional height to the bottom of they bring it further up into the heat sink. So
that's called the Magnum. That's the
Magnum.
high flow version.
Yeah, so you can use a Magnum on the same printer without having to drastically adjust your settings. So if you had a BL Touch on it, you wouldn't have to adjust the BL Touch or your capacitive sensor, inductive sensor. Yeah, go ahead. You're gonna have to talk, Dave, to show it.
So that is that's the Magnum right next to it, and you'll see all they did is this is really their heat fins. For the Magnum, what they did is they literally just added a big copper block inside of that hole. So, like you said, they are identical size, everything. And I'll tell you one really neat thing about it. If you look at it from the side, you'll see it's flush on the back, and then the extruder comes off of it. And this is where you're talking about it. Then they have the bolt holes. You can literally bolt the two of them together.
Yep.
And one fan will take care of both of them simultaneously, so you can make a dual extruder setup with that without even flinching.
And it's really probably super easy to get those lined up and leveled compared to like two V6s next to each other.
And it'll only run you at what, $350 for that setup?
How much does it crack it? I mean, it's like
right about $350, $400 for that setup.
Yeah.
For it right now, yeah. I mean, that's the price that you pay for
early adoption. Yeah.
For early adoption.
And I mean, for something that's handmade and the quality that sounds like everybody's saying, I mean, that seems reasonable. Like I said, we're going to have to wait for it to come out, and hopefully when it goes into mass production, if it goes into it, doesn't sacrifice any of the things that make it so great.
And what's cool is reasonably, when you're printing it with, something under, let's say, 210 degrees Celsius, you don't even need a fan.
Wow.
That's a real testament to just having the right material, because like you look at like the fins on that thing are nothing, right? It almost makes the V6 look ridiculously
overkill. Yeah.
Well, they just got rid of all the metal. That's all they did. So I mean, there's no metal there. They actually use surgical stainless steel tubing for the filament, and then they use copper to do the heat wicking. So it's a beautiful design.
E3D's
and I had a hard time giving him crap about it. So I was like, it's actually, there's very little on that that's repeated from other designs.
Yeah, I wish E3D would come out with a nickel-plated copper heat sink, because they've already got their nickel-plated copper nozzles and blocks.
Right.
But if they came out with a nickel-plated heat sink, then that would really help with the heat dissipation.
That would help them a lot in their configuration.
It would also be expensive.
Considering how hard it is to actually mill nickel copper, I could see that being a problem.
That and the price of copper.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me caught up on tariffs.
I'm not.
Let's put it this way.
We're all pissed. It's we know.
Just the extrusions are costing these days, and
actually, I got a full container shipped in.
Yeah,
and I was watching every single move of it through customs, and it cleared on July 4th.
Wow.
If
2 days.
Got stuck for 2 more days, I would have been totally up the creek, because it was a full container, top to bottom, of everything, and everything in that was pretty much on the list.
Man,
jeez.
Yeah, talking about the
aluminum tariff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, last minute they added plastic to that.
Yeah, that's the one that got me, because I had a bunch of stock in a couple of companies that just started plummeting as soon as the plastic was added to the tariffs, and so I was like ditching the stock as fast as I could, and then I just invested it all into Starbucks. I'm like, I'm just gonna park you there for now and figure out what to do with you later.
You're safe for now.
Safe for now. Well, Starbucks is at an all-time, well, not an all-time low, but they're at a really big low right now. So they're predicting that Starbucks stock really has nowhere to go, maybe down a little bit more, but then it'll recover. So maybe it'll be worth it. I don't know. But it's... What the heck is he doing?
Opening a window. It's freaking hot here.
Air conditioning, bro.
No, you know, I haven't turned that thing on yet, and I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm committed now to trying to not run it this summer.
Yeah, it was 106 here today, so air conditioning was not even. Yeah.
Thankfully, we're only flirting with triple digits, but I have a whole house fan that does a really good job when I get the windows open at night and stuff. So that's what I do.
Attic fan.
Yeah, this one's like mounted to the actual. It's the whole house with the louvers and stuff like that.
Yeah, we call those attic fans here in the Midwest.
Attic fan, I call like the ones like that are actually on the gable vents and stuff. Like
we call those gable fans.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, you can send some heat over to me. It's 9 degrees Celsius. So that's like 50 Fahrenheit.
Well, you're in Iceland, dude.
Yeah. This summer has been terrible here in Iceland. We had just rain almost now for 3 months.
Yeah, but can't you just go like jump in one of those geothermal hot springs anytime you want? Isn't that like?
Yeah, I have to drive for like 3 minutes to one. So.
3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a hot spring pool like in every neighborhood. So.
You live in frickin' Narnia, dude.
I will trade you. You can have the 96 degrees here. I'll take that. I'll take that 50.
No, I'll take the
no
heat.
problem.
I don't like being cold.
I can't do the heat.
Yeah,
Eventually, you run out of clothes to take off.
I'd rather be cold than hot.
Yeah, I would much rather be cold.
Ditto. You can always bundle up.
Yeah.
Now, see, but that's what everybody says. But at some point, you're gonna be miserable when it's that cold all the time.
I'm with you, Pooch.
I don't. Okay, let's just agree that 70 degrees San Diego weather is like amazing. I mean, that's just but then again, to live in San Diego, yeah, that's not really possible unless I become
living in San Diego.
You know. But other than that, I'd rather be cold than hot because one, hot screws with my hypothalamus.
Is that your excuse?
It is. It really does. It messes with me. When I'm hot and I shouldn't be hot, my brain does weird things, and so I don't even. Yeah, but like I can only strip down so much before the police get involved. So.
Yeah, Hack Monkey was just writing that.
Oh gosh, yeah, he said the same thing.
It's the same moment.
Missouri Brothers Unite. All right. See, I first ran into Scott. I didn't know Scott at all, and I was using his design already. And then we ran into each other at the Micro Center in Overland Park, and then he just happened to drop the fact that he designed that case, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, he's not too far away from me." It's interesting how much culture there's the little pockets in the U.S.
Hey, Travis, you've come on. You've said like nothing, man. You're like, we're just supposed to stare at you, or are you gonna tell us what you've been up to, or what's
you
happening?
Just enjoy my presence here.
All right. Well, I see you all the time, so. Yeah. It's nothing novel to me.
No, I'm just sitting here working on the rep box, and I'm just kind of fading here. I wanted to jump in because I haven't been in one of these in forever, and just listening to you guys and hanging out.
So where are we at? Are you done with that thing yet?
Getting close, man. That's what we keep saying, right?
But it's hard when you're. I mean, I bet David can attest to this. It's like you said. I feel like we're making a box. It's not like rocket scientists, but you get into it and you just want it to be the best thing, that it can be. And, at some point you have to say, okay, this is version 1 and get a design lock. And we're there, but it's just, it's been an interesting process. I mean, can you walk us through when you did the enclosures, like what your mind was, how long it took you to actually pull the trigger on shipping?
Oh yeah. Go through the MK3 one that took, how long?
A year.
Yeah.
The Prusa and the MK3 one, the problem with that is that I got locked in my head my traditional design, which is that on all my printers, I like to hang the enclosure off the printer, not build a box. And I probably spent 3-4 months just staring at Prusa printers, trying to figure out how to hang a design off of it. And I did maybe 10 versions before I finally said, no one's ever going to be able to put this together in their entire life. So I have to come up with another way. And I finally gave up and did a box. And I had the first box version done probably in a week. And then I spent another 2 months after that putting all the little secrets and add-ons. And then I spent about another couple of weeks after that thinking about how potentially, and anybody watching this, please forgive me when I say this, but how stupid the end user can be and how can I stop them? You would be surprised.
We proved that correct on the live build.
Yes. And
how stupid I was.
You're not the only one, but it gave me good insight to what I know versus what the end user knows.
Yeah. Yeah, your domain knowledge is always... you don't know what is you can take at face value that everyone's going to know versus what you can't take at face value because you know it, but you don't know if anyone else knows. That's, I think, like one of the biggest complaints I see with the YouTube videos with 3D printing is that we skip so many steps because we just figure that by this point everyone already knows X, Y, or Z. And so that's, you know, like my Octoprint video on port forwarding and all that is like 30 minutes long because 15 to 20 minutes of it is explaining how DNS and DHCP works.
Yep.
Here's a primer in basic networking for you.
Yeah, exactly right. Because I was about to get into some really interesting, you know, you need to have a DNS, dynamic DNS, because your crap's changing on you. So I was like, how do I just tell them how to do this, or do I actually explain the reasoning behind why they're doing this? And I decided to go with explain the reasoning why. That way they have a basic understanding of what is happening on the background instead of it just being magic. Because if it breaks, they're going to come back to the comment section and go, it stopped working.
Now, I was going to say the other curse that I run into with design stuff like this is that, and I mentioned it to you when you were doing your little live stream, I hid a bunch of stuff in the design. That's not because I was trying to make Easter eggs for people, but if I had, came out and I started publishing all the notes about all the things that you could do with it and all this other stuff, it creates a huge amount of problems because now you have to support all of that additional stuff. But if you literally say, hey, if the community figures it out, that's the community supporting that part of it.
Well, that's the reason why I asked you how thick the board was today on Twitter, because I ordered these little 1/4 inch 20 count thread tripod mount little screw thingies, the ones that you use to replace the ones that you lose, and I'm going to use that hole in the top to attach a Microsoft Live Cam in there. So that's I needed to know if it would clear through that.
That's exactly why those holes were there. It was either for cameras or for feet. It's on the top or the bottom. But of course, I can't put that in the manual because then I'd get 10,000 calls a day asking where's the feet, or I'd get an Amazon review where people say, "Hey, you don't include the feet. You're a horrible person."
Or, what part do I need to order in order to put a camera in here?
Right, and how do I get my camera hooked up? And then all of a sudden, I'm given Octoprint support.
Well, you just send them my way at that point.
Yeah, so that's.
I think Gina should be paying me at this point.
Try to design stuff into your products that the advanced person and the community can build on and make it even more awesome. But you don't have to include that as the core function of what you're trying to release.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit at IRF about with adding you know, a heated mat or something like that, where it's like, you know, now you start getting into a whole nother world of liability and expectation. So it's kind of low hanging fruit to anybody that's, you know, there and thinking and like, hey, how hard is it if you leave a little hole for them to run a cable or something like that? But, you know, it's an undocumented thing. So, you know, you're definitely full of wisdom, and I appreciate your willingness to share it. And it sounds like a good case study for what you were saying earlier on Occam's razor, that a lot of times the simplest answers are the best ones. Don't overdo it. Don't overcomplicate.
You know, now I'll tell you, one of my funnest designs is you know, because I designed the enclosures for Lulzbot for their Mini and their Task 6s.
Yeah.
And the Mini had a problem of the USB port. I overthought the USB port on the front of the Mini on the very first design. My very first pass, I actually had a slight offset in case somebody had too big of a USB cable. And it made a huge problem for people assembling it because they didn't understand the offset. It made it too hard for them to assemble that because it was a really small offset and you had to 3D print a part for it, and they just didn't like that.
Yeah.
And I sent it off to Lulzbot, and they said, well, we only include this one USB cable, so you don't need that offset. You don't have to worry about all those other stupid ones. And that's how I came up with, finally, literally just a freaking box for the front of it. You know, it became that simple after I didn't have to worry about that USB port anymore.
It's just funny because you want it to be sexier than a box, you know, as like a designer. But sometimes it just calls for a box. So
well, ask Justin Timberlake what you can put in the box.
Yeah.
Now, here's the funny thing. I get this one all the time, is that on the Task 6, you know how it's shaped like the letter L from the side?
Yeah.
That was not an aesthetic thing or a mechanical thing. That's a structural thing. I put that L in there to make it stronger.
Huh.
If I made an acrylic box that was that big of the whole front of that printer,
right,
it wouldn't be very strong.
Right.
So I just put an L in it to make it stronger.
Huh.
And I had to go in, and that one got redesigned 4 times because I had to worry about people putting it on their desk. When people put their printers on their desk, sometimes they put a mat underneath it or anything like that, and that would make the enclosure sink down about 5-10 millimeters. And I wanted to make sure that no matter what print head they put on the printer, it would still get the full build volume. So I had to completely change that shelf like 4 times before it finally settled in.
And have you made these changes? Like, do you do like a beta release, or like how do you know when it's ready? Have you had instances where it sounds like you're shipping something and then you had to issue a retrofit of some kind?
I've done that. I did that very early on. I did it as kind of a soft launch where I sell 5 and then I put it out of stock. And then I talk to the end users, find out what they say, if they have any problems, and then I'll do 5 more and put it out of stock and talk to them. And slowly release it so that I can go back and just be like, you know what? I screwed up everything. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one.
And you're only out 5. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully I find the catches. The Mini's been solid. I haven't found there's other than on the Mini 2, there's a couple things I would change, but it works. And the Task 6, I think, is a pretty solid design across the board. The only thing I'm working on is hopefully by the end of the year, I'll get all my environmental certifications, and I'll be able to release an ABS version of them. So I get a stronger material.
So what maybe we're hijacking this whole thing because I'd take your brain about this all night. So, but we'll have to connect offline at some point. I'm curious what you mean by environmental certifications and all that. Just to sell it, you need to get approval.
Actually, it's funny. The Prusa enclosures, I have to get approval. I have EPA certifications on my Prusa and CR10 enclosures, but I don't need them on my acrylic ones. Now the EPA, the environmental problems I had to worry about is that cutting ABS, as we all know, puts off toxic fumes. So I wouldn't be allowed to cut that and exhaust that in Delaware. So I have a huge air scrubber in my building to scrub it for all the ABS cuts. But then I have to literally wash the ABS after each cut. And with that, I'm not allowed to put that water down the drain. So I have to filter that water before I can actually put that down the drain. Now, you could be a horrible person and be secretive about it, but I actually have gone out and actually made sure that the EPA is EPA and OSHA are happy with everything I'm doing.
Interesting.
It's easier in the long run to just do what they want.
It's cheaper to do it now than it is to pay the fine and do it later.
Yeah, and generally not be a horrible person, right?
That was a good point. Yeah, good tip too.
You know, great humor on being a horrible person is that the acrylic, unfortunately, when I cut that stuff, I get a lot of waste product.
Yep.
Which sucks. You hate throwing that away. I had to go find a recycler, and there's a recycler in Southern Maryland that agreed that if I was willing to stock it up to have a full container, they'd be willing to come pick it up from me. So now I just store trash for 8 months before they finally send a truck to pick it all up.
And what do they ultimately do with it? Shred it?
Remelt it.
Huh, wow. Remelt and cast, huh?
Yep. Remelt and cast. And that was always my intention because I knew there were recycling programs for the acrylic I use. So trying to be as environmental as I possibly can with that stuff is also just, good policy. And all it is a little extra work.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that's something to think about when you're manufacturing. You got to think about every aspect of it. And I'll tell you this, as soon as you send that off to have anybody manufacture it for you, or if you do it yourself, establish your QC process now.
Another thing to put on the list. Awesome. All right.
Because it doesn't matter how smart you are. I'm a freaking brilliant person, and I screw stuff up all the time. So you have to set up, idiot checks.
Super humble too.
That's the advice I tell everyone. I have with mine, I have them they actually wave a metal detector over each box just to make sure they've remembered the hardware bag. But they wave the metal detector over the box to make sure the hardware bag gets in there. They weigh each box to make sure all the pieces get in there to get over under. And then also I do size checks every 20 enclosures. So it takes a lot.
Did you design your own packaging and stuff too, or did you have that formed out?
I designed, well, my packaging isn't really designed, but I came up with it. I literally just sourced boxes and packing material from Uline.
Yeah.
And I shipped it to I shipped the same box to 5 different places without it being opened and had it shipped back to me. And I was like, all right, it's going to survive shipping. And I did that several times with all my products. And I go, all right, this is going to work. Mainly because with packaging, my God, it's amazing how much you'll spend on that. For like your box, if it was assembled, that's a $20 box by the time you're done.
Right.
With the padding and the box design and all that stuff, $20 a year cost is just in that freaking box.
That's why we want to be able to flat pack it. And even then, there's still a good amount that goes into that.
I went through paper, foam, bubble wrap, and I settled on cardboard wrap. So went through all those different things. And recently, 6 months ago, I finally got around to, we used to actually take all of our acrylic sheets, sandwich them together in a very specific pattern, and then masking tape them all together.
Right.
And that worked pretty well, but it took literally about 40 minutes per kit for them to pack up.
Right.
I switched over to a thick shrink wrap. And now they literally just take the same stack, shove it in there, heat it with a heat gun, and they're off and running. Well, a heat gun shrink wrap. It saved it down to under 5 minutes.
Cool.
It actually allowed me to add one more laser cutter and still no more operator. So a laser cutter operator can operate 3 lasers and do all the packing all at the same time.
How many cutters are you guys up to now?
I'm running 3 cutters and a shop bot.
Nice.
Nice.
One 4 foot by 8 foot, and then the other 2 are 4 foot by 3 foot.
Guys, I'm gonna interrupt because I'm gonna go to bed.
Looking good there though in the wife beater, man. So
Thank you. Well, it's past midnight here, so I can start stripping. So, anyways, guys,
packing.
no, no, I'm really tired. Today I spent 5 hours on a single ticket, working on a single ticket at work. And yeah, when you put that much time and effort into a single troubleshooting ticket, it's like, because most tickets are like 30-minute tickets at most, and then in 5-hour tickets just drain the crap out of your head. So anyway, guys, just look at the top bar thingy here for all my information. That'll be my outro, and I think that's probably the best thing. Thanks for hosting and for letting me come on and be ridiculous as always. It was nice to see all of you again, and I'll see you on the flip side. Stay frosty, be on fleek.
It's always a pleasure to have you here, Joe. And thanks again for though you probably don't remember, you sent me some. You sent me a stepper motor back at this time last year.
I remember. Yeah.
That stepper motor is being used on the printer. The printer is working. I just wanted to say thanks because you did help get the printer running to print stuff for my wedding that was last year. I just haven't had a chance to talk to you since then, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. That's what community's for. Anyway, I'll see you guys later, and don't stay up too late. You guys are gonna feel terrible tomorrow.
We're in California, man. We can stay up.
Yeah, this is early, dude.
Yeah, it's early morning for me, so it's good.
it took me like 2 weeks to fully recover from California time, so I'm not gonna go there.
10:40 here.
It's only 10:40 here. Well, it's 12:40 here. All right, I gotta figure out how to get. There it is.
Just
Bye.
text him when you get up in the morning, Joe Mike, and then tell him what time it is where you're at.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.
All right. Night, man.
There's no such thing as staying up too late.
All right.
That's right. So I'll give you one more piece of advice for you.
Yeah.
Don't put into the box a link to the instructions online. Actually, get printed instructions.
I'll bite. Why?
Because if a person has to read a screen to put it together,
they're gonna hate it. Yeah.
Well, they're gonna hate it, but it confuses people. I try to put the same instructions on a screen versus the same instructions on paper, and people that don't even know what 3D printers are were able to put it together based on paper, not based on screen.
I'm really hoping that's an awesome tip, and I'm really hoping we can get it on a one sheet. But you know, we'll see.
What about a video too? Is that
those all of them help?
Yeah.
If you can do all three, it helps. And I tried doing a one sheet with the TAS 6. No, it took, I redid that manual. It took 12 pages before I finally was able to say, all right, now they get it.
12 pages. So, I mean, I think the takeaway there is you can't assume anything is intuitive. You're laying it all out as explicitly as possible.
Right. And you have to repeat the same thing every single time. In the manual, I have like 47 steps, I think it was. And every step starts with do not over tighten the screw.
Yep.
And they're easy to write when you do it that way because you copy and paste every step and just change the 2 part numbers that they're putting together at that time.
I was going to ask you, were you using any specific piece of software for your manual writing, or are you just using Word or something?
I'm really good with Microsoft Word.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I just, you just lay it out, try to be as simple as possible. And I gave it to people that didn't know what 3D printers were and asked them to put it together. And I did that multiple times.
That's a good test. How many boxes are you up to now, David?
Sorry, 20 some odd.
And you feel like you're able to take best of breed from a lot of these things? Like it's got to be easier every time, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, the Ender 3 I did in a day. It was probably my fastest design cycle ever. So, but you can have, I mean, it's after a while you really start to pick up the technique and you know everything you're looking for. And I watch the community, I read every complaint and every suggestion. and add them kind of to the list of what's going to go next. And they get better and better each time.
Awesome.
So yeah, do not ignore suggestions, even if it comes from somebody you're like, they don't know what they're talking about. Still write it down.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing outside production at all, or are you doing your lasers just solely for yourself?
We do a lot of outside production for companies that aren't even in 3D printing. And we do have a lot of spare time on it. So if you need laser cutting, hey, we're your guy.
Okay.
We have we have a bunch of customers that we're not allowed to talk about. We have customers that we are allowed to talk about, but I probably maybe have like 50 customers total that come back on a regular basis with stuff. And I maintain a repo for all of them, and that's where I just go grab their files and run it through the machines.
Nice.
So
good to know. Good to know. Well, I'm gonna sign up for myself for tonight. I'm gonna try to get a couple other things done here.
Yeah.
It's awesome talking to you guys. Martin, are you not sleeping tonight, buddy? It's like morning already.
Yeah, it's almost 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it's one of those streams.
Right.
Yeah, but David, I sent you a tweet out asking about the mount for the mosquito. If you let me know the name of the guy that is doing it, it would be great, so I can test out the model.
yeah, as soon as he releases it, he's supposed to send me an email over the weekend.
Yeah, cool. I'll look forward to it. I'm gonna go to bed at least at this moment, I think.
Yeah, seems like a good.
All right, guys. Good night.
Check out.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
All right, now we're done.